You say you're a writer? Have you published anything? I'm, I'm a web fiction author. You have to have a really successful serial before a publisher will even look at you. So, you're not successful? How much do you make a month then? If I hit all my deadlines, maybe 2,500, give or take. Only 2,500? My handbag costs more than that. How are you supposed to get by in a city like Portland on that kind of money? Inside the Heron's Nest Cafe, overlooking the Willamette, Leo Shepard was on a blind date set up by one of his mom's bridge club friends. The moment the conversation turned to his salary, the atmosphere turned painfully awkward, making Leo, a socially anxious mess on a good day, feel like he was sitting on a bed of nails. The silence hung in the air for a few seconds before the woman stood up, slinging her brown leather bag over her shoulder with a resigned smile. Well, I've got another appointment, so I should probably get going. We'll be in touch. In her eyes, the guy was decent-looking, tall enough, but his whole vibe was just plain. The faded t-shirt, the hint of stubble he'd missed while shaving, the hair that looked like he'd just run his hands through it. He seemed drained, his eyes vacant behind thick glasses like some nerd who does nothing but hole up and play video games all day. And most importantly, he was broke. His electric scooter, parked out front, looked pathetic next to the lineup of sedans and SUVs lining the street. "Take care," Leo said, not with disappointment, but with a flicker of genuine relief. Finally, he could be alone. Leo was 24. He'd fallen in love with web fiction in college, and after graduating, dived headfirst into writing it, specializing in progression fantasy. The job was basically a one-man tech startup, requiring him to spend his days cooped up at home, hammering away at a keyboard. This reclusive lifestyle had taken his already introverted personality and sealed it in a Tupperware container of social awkwardness. Aside from venturing downstairs for food, Leo basically never left his apartment. Years of this self-imposed isolation had destroyed his social skills. Every time he tried to talk to a woman, his anxiety went into overdrive, his brain short-circuited, and he'd inevitably say something completely out of sync with the mood. This was the primary reason that, at 24, he'd never even been on a second date. Just then, his phone buzzed in his pocket. "Hello, is this Mr. Shepard? I was wondering if you could come by to sign the lease soon. I have to pick up my daughter from school in a bit." "Oh yeah, of course. I'll be right over." Unable to stand his parents' daily nagging about finding a girlfriend, Leo had found a studio apartment on Zillow, determined to escape their constant matchmaking. He drained the last of his cold coffee, stood up, and walked to the counter to pay. Based on his date's gold-digging monologue, he hadn't exactly expected her to offer to split the bill. "That'll be $24. You could just tap here," the cashier said. She was pretty, with eyes that curved into crescents when she smiled. Okay." Leo shyly avoided her gaze. It was a classic introvert move. Making eye contact with a stranger, especially an attractive one, felt like staring into the sun. "Thanks, have a good one." After tapping his card, a wave of dizziness washed over him. For a split second, it looked like a few lines of text, and a blurry heart-shaped icon flashed above the cashier's head. He blinked hard and looked again, but they were gone. "I really need to start working out," Leo thought, chalking it up to his sedentary lifestyle. He paid the bill, hopped on his e-scooter, and headed for the evergreen terrace apartments out in the suburbs. The complex was a bit of a trek from downtown, but the rent was cheap and the neighborhood was quiet. For a homebody like Leo, it was perfect. He'd already put down the deposit online. As he stepped into the elevator, his phone pinged with a notification. It was the family group chat. "Mama Bear, Mom at offline mode. Honey, how did the date go today? Offline mode. Crashed and burned. What else is new? Also, it cost me $24. You gonna reimburse me? Mama Bear, Mom Sweetie. Have I ever told you the story of the lonely sock? Offline mode. What story?" There was once a brand new sock, fresh from the factory, perfectly matched with its partner. They went everywhere together. But one day, after a trip through the washing machine, it came out all alone. It waited by the dryer for weeks, but its partner never came back. So, what do you think the owner did with that single sock? Offline mode. What? Mama Bear, Mom threw it out, of course. What good is a single sock? Get the picture, honey. Smiling face with smiling eyes, smiling face with smiling eyes, smiling face with smiling eyes. Offline mode. Staring at the string of passive-aggressive, smiley faces, Leo swallowed hard and quickly put his phone on silent. For the sake of his own sanity, he decided he'd be skipping Sunday dinner at his parents' place this week. The elevator reached the 22nd floor. Leo stepped out and walked toward his new apartment. Click, clack, click, clack. The door was open, and the sound of high heels echoed from inside. "Mr. Shepard." Hearing the elevator ding, the clicking grew closer, and Leo's heart started to pound. He was terrible at this, talking to women. A moment later, A woman in a stylish blouse with a brown floral pattern appeared in the doorway. She had a delicate, porcelain-white face and long, dark hair swept over one shoulder. She wore a beige pencil skirt and matching stockings that highlighted a pair of long, well-toned legs. From head to toe, she radiated the unique, captivating charm of a mature woman, a mix of sophistication and domestic warmth. She was holding a lease agreement, and on a small table inside, a large, glittering ring of keys lay on the surface. Leo instinctively counted them, at least a dozen sets. Beautiful, great figure, a landlady. A stunning divorcee like this was the kind of character his writer friends would put in their spicier fantasy novels. "You're Leo Shepherd?" the woman asked, her eyes sweeping over him with a hint of surprise. She smiled playfully. "From your voice on the phone, I pictured someone in their 30s. You're much younger than I expected." Caught off guard by the compliment, Leo gave a tight, nervous smile and scrambled for a reply. Yeah, I didn't expect that either." The words were barely out of his mouth before he wanted to die. His toes curled inside his shoes. What the hell was that? I didn't expect how old I was. Sure enough, the landlady was now staring at him with a look of utter bewilderment. Leo's mind raced, and in a panic he blurted out the first compliment he could think of. "I mean, you look really young, too. Like, you could still be in college or something." The landlady paused, looking the tall, seemingly earnest young man up and down before letting out a soft, dismissive huff. "Please, I'm almost 40. The word young, and I parted ways a long time ago. You don't have to lay it on that thick. Everyone likes a compliment, but Isabel Vance was a woman who had seen it all. With a portfolio of properties that afforded her a comfortable life, she met every type of man imaginable over the years. Even if a compliment on her youth and beauty pleased her, she wasn't about to show it. She wasn't some naive girl from the countryside who'd get swept off her feet by a few cheap pickup lines. Now what? Her clearly displeased tone sent Leo, whose social functions were already on the fritz, into a cold sweat. Right? Women and the age thing. Big deal. Just as his mind was about to blue screen, 3 virtual text boxes materialized in his vision. 1. You're almost 40? Damn, that's impressive. If I were that old, I'd hope I was already dead. 2. You're not old at all. But if we're talking experience, you've still got a lot to learn from me. 3. No, really. Age is just a number, but beauty is timeless. You're not getting older. You're just getting more beautiful. Not only that, but the blurry heart icon he'd seen above the cashier's head reappeared. This one, however, was transparent, not pink. Next to it was the number 1, and a faint crimson glow pulsed within it. Leo rubbed his eyes in disbelief, then stared again at the landlady's curvaceous figure. The text and the heart icon were still there, solid as could be. As a web fiction author, he knew exactly what this was. This was a bona fide superpower, the kind of cheat code that launches a protagonist to the pinnacle of life. Please make a selection. Host. Correct choices will be rewarded. A synthesized metallic voice echoed in his mind, confirming it. He'd actually been chosen by some sci-fi, game-like entity. As for the 3 options, any sane person would know which one to pick. No, really, Leo said, his voice suddenly steadier, bolstered by the system's cheat sheet. Age is just a number, but beauty is timeless. You're not getting older. You're just getting more beautiful. Even with the system's help, laying on such a cheesy line to a woman he'd just met felt unnatural. He watched her reaction nervously. Isabel shot him a sidelong glance, her expression unreadable. She shook her head slightly, affecting an air of indifference. "You look like a quiet, studious type with those glasses, but you've got a smooth tongue. Are all you young guys like this now? Just throwing compliments at everyone you meet?" Under her piercing gaze, Leo started to panic. Did he pick the wrong one? She didn't seem very happy. He quickly reread the first 2 options, confirming that his choice was, without a doubt, the only viable one. If he'd picked either of those, he wouldn't just be losing out on the apartment. He'd be lucky to leave the room in one piece. Ding! Isabel Vance's affinity toward host has increased by 2 points. Current affinity, 3. Please continue your efforts. The system's notification made him look again. The number above Isabel's head had changed from 1 to 3. The transparent heart was now infused with a little more of that crimson glow, just like the relationship meters in a dating sim. If her affinity went up by 2, his answer must have been right. So why did she still look so unimpressed? Was she just playing it cool? More importantly, what was he supposed to say now? Just then, new options appeared. 1. Haha, you saw right through me. But I'm not like this with everyone. It's just you. 2. I really do think you look young. You could pass for my mom's younger sister. 3. Honestly, I think you look fantastic. This is the best age for a woman. You're in full bloom, radiating confidence. You're just as vibrant as any girl in her 20s, maybe even more so. The nuance was a little lost on Leo's socially stunted brain. But after a moment's thought, he decided option 1 sounded too much like a confession, which she might misinterpret. Option 2 was definitely out. Comparing a woman to his mom was a death sentence. Option 3, on the other hand, built perfectly on what he just said. And besides, he wasn't entirely lying. The landlady was gorgeous, just a bit older than he was used to. Some guys were into that, right? It wasn't complete brown-nosing. After a moment of deliberation, he offered a sincere smile. Honestly, I think you look fantastic. This is the best age for a woman. You're in full bloom, radiating confidence. You're just as vibrant as any girl in her 20s, maybe even more so. The line, both intimate and yet respectful, clearly caught Isabel off guard. Looking at Leo's earnest, guileless expression, a faint blush rose to her cheeks. She shot him a playfully dismissive glance. All right, enough with the sweet talk. Are you trying to get me to lower the rent or something? 1, you found me out. Things are a little tight right now. So, could you maybe knock a little off the rent? 2, I'm just telling you the truth. You really do look young. If we went out somewhere, people would probably think we were brother and sister. 3, shouldn't you? You're charging $1,000 a month for this dump out in the middle of nowhere. No, the rent is what it is, Leo said earnestly. I'm just telling you the truth. You really do look young. If we went out somewhere, people would probably think we were brother and sister. Ding. Isabel Vance's affinity toward host has increased by 3 points. Current affinity, 6. Please continue your efforts. Isabel's face felt warm. She waved a hand, her voice and demeanor noticeably softer. You kids and your silver tongues. You must use those lines to charm girls all the time, don't you? Not at all. I'm single. And I really do think you look young. If we... Okay. Isabel cut him off, unable to handle his direct, flustering compliments. A hint of shyness crept into her voice. Are you here to flirt or to rent an apartment? Are we signing this lease or not? Signing, definitely signing. Leo agreed quickly, following her inside to sign the papers. As she turned away, he could have sworn he saw the corner of her mouth curve into a smile. The apartment was a 1-bedroom studio, fully furnished with all the necessary appliances and an internet connection. It was move-in ready. Isabel sat beside him, quietly watching as he signed, occasionally pointing a slender finger to the spots he needed to initial. She asked a few casual questions, her voice no longer intimidating but warm, like that of a cool older sister. After the paperwork was done, Leo carefully read over the terms. Isabel then gave him a quick tour of the apartment and the floor's amenities. Once he'd paid the deposit and first month's rent, they exchanged numbers. Well, that should be everything. I have to go pick up my daughter, Isabel said, gathering her copy of the lease and the keys. If you need anything, just text me. Leo nodded. Okay, thanks for everything, Isabel. Drive safe. As Isabel got up to leave, she glanced at Leo, a hesitant, almost shy look on her face. Is something wrong? Leo asked politely. It's just... Isabel tucked a stray strand of hair behind her ear, hesitating for a moment before asking. Her voice a mixture of coyness and genuine curiosity. What you said before, about me being beautiful and young. You don't think that's a little inappropriate for someone my age? A woman's age and appearance are always a sensitive topic. It wasn't like no one had ever called Isabel young or beautiful before. On the contrary, her social circle was full of men who did. But she knew they all had an angle. They wanted her money or her body. Leo didn't give her that sycophantic vibe. She'd seen the genuine nervousness on his face when he'd said those things. It was the kind of endearing awkwardness you only see in recent college grads. She believed he was speaking from the heart. Leo was surprised she was still thinking about his earlier comments, especially after she'd pretended to be so dismissive. As he fumbled for an answer, the system's prompts appeared again. 1. Biden, I said you were young, but when did I say beautiful? Guess your hearing's going bad in your old age. 2. It's true. If you hadn't told me your age, I would have guessed you were 27, 28 at most. 3. You're gorgeous. And honestly, you have my favorite kind of figure. You look like you'd be amazing to hug. It's true, Leo said with utter sincerity. If you hadn't told me your age, I would have guessed you were 27, 28 at most. He then added his own touch. And I bet I'm not the only one. Your friends must tell you how young and beautiful you look all the time. As he finished, he couldn't help but shudder at options 1 and 3. The system really wasn't afraid of him making a catastrophic mistake. He couldn't even imagine Isabel's reaction if he'd chosen one of those. Ding. Isabel Vance's affinity toward host has increased by 4 points. Current affinity, 10. Please continue your efforts. Oh, they're just teasing me, Isabel said, brushing her hair back, though her eyes shone with delight. She couldn't suppress a small laugh. You're probably the only one who would say that to an old woman like me. Not all. I really do think you're young and beautiful, and you have a great figure, Leo said, smiling along with her. The anxiety that usually plagued him in these situations was gone, replaced by a strange sense of accomplishment. So this is what it felt like to make a woman happy. Haha, you're too sweet. Well, I really have to get going. My daughter's principal keeps texting me. Isabel turned and walked out, her heels clicking against the floor. As she stepped into the elevator, she shot him a look over her shoulder, a playful, almost sultry glance that made Leo, a 24-year-old veteran of singledom, feel his breath catch in his throat. Damn, older women really had a special kind of charm. After she left, Leo closed the door, eager to figure out his new power. System? System. Hello, host. The social support system is at your service. Catchy name, Leo deadpanned. So give me the details. What exactly can you do? As the name implies, this system is designed to assist the host in all social interactions. When the host encounters a difficult social situation, the system will provide a variety of response options based on the other person's personality and disposition. When the host selects a correct response that increases the other party's affinity, regardless of gender, the host will receive a cash reward. 1 point of affinity can be exchanged for a $1,000 cash reward. When a target's affinity reaches 50, the host will receive detailed personal information about them, as well as a mystery box. The mystery box can contain any item the host desires. A second box is awarded when affinity reaches 100. Targets who are minors or who already have a baseline positive affinity for the host are ineligible for affinity gains or rewards. 1 point is $1,000? So I have $10,000 in rewards right now, Leo asked, his voice trembling with excitement. He had, after all, raised the landlady's affinity by a full 10 points. The host has currently acquired 10 affinity points from Isabel Vance, making you eligible to withdraw a $10,000 cash reward. Do you wish to withdraw? Withdraw. Withdraw. Leo was ecstatic. This was so much faster than grinding out chapters of his novel. Plus, it would force him to improve his social skills. The moment he confirmed, his phone buzzed with a text message. Chase Bank alert. A deposit of $10,000 has been made to your account, ending in 6770 on December 11th at 6:30 p.m. A few minutes of conversation for a year's worth of writing income. This is incredible. Leo pushed his glasses up, a giddy smile on his face. Suddenly, talking to women didn't seem so difficult anymore. Even if it was still awkward, it was a real way to make money. What's more embarrassing for a man, a little social awkwardness or an empty wallet? Getting paid to level up his charisma? Who would say no to that? Wait, system, I have a question. What if I run into someone I can't stand? Leo asked curiously. You're not going to make me try to raise their affinity too, are you? Rest assured, host. For such targets, you will be rewarded for decreasing their affinity. The system will provide appropriate response options based on their words and actions to achieve this. Good, Leo said, relieved. He had no desire to suck up to everyone he met. What was the difference between that and being a pathetic simp? One last question, Leo said, clearing his throat and rubbing his nose awkwardly. So, when someone's affinity is maxed out, does that mean, like in the games, when any individual's affinity for the host reaches 100, their final disposition is entirely up to the host's discretion? The system's answer was vague, but the implication was crystal clear. Oh, right, Leo mumbled, feeling a little childish for asking. If a woman's affinity for you was maxed out and she still wasn't interested in adult activities, she was either a lesbian, related to you, or had a medical condition. He checked the time. It was almost 6. Leo grabbed his phone and keys, deciding to take a walk, find some dinner, and get familiar with his new neighborhood. Maybe he could even find someone to talk to and earn a little extra cash. The apartment complex was pretty remote. After wandering for a bit with his phone's GPS, he found a small street lined with food trucks, the air thick with the smell of grilling meat and the shouts of vendors. He grabbed a burrito from one truck, then wandered over to a cart selling roasted candied nuts, planning to buy a bag to snack on while gaming later. This was the daily life of most single guys. Food was fuel, not an event. At home, you ate what your parents made. On your own, you ate well when you had money and grabbed whatever was cheap when you didn't. Low maintenance. The vendor was a burly man with a weathered face, energetically tossing fragrant nuts in a large copper kettle. Leo walked up. Hey, how much are the nuts? $8 a bag. Just made a fresh batch. Want some, kid? The man cheerfully scooped up a hot nut and held it out to Leo. Here, try one. They're great. Leo took it, a little embarrassed, and popped it into his mouth. It was actually delicious. He nodded. Yeah, I'll take a bag for $8. Truthfully, even if the nuts had been terrible, he would have felt too awkward to refuse the man's friendly offer. It was a common weakness among the socially anxious, a little kindness from a vendor, and they felt obligated to buy something they didn't really want. You got it. Sweet, savory, or plain? Savory. Coming right up, the owner said with a grin, setting down his paddle to bag the nuts. Ding. The vendor's affinity toward host has increased by 1 point. Current affinity, 1. Please continue your efforts. As the notification sounded, Leo noticed a blue heart icon above the man's head, with a single affinity point. An idea sparked. Actually, Leo said, give me a bag of the sweet ones, too. $4.20. Oh, sure thing. The owner beamed, surprised, and started bagging the second order. His affinity ticked up by another point. Leo realized it wasn't just about conversation. For a guy like this, buying more of his product and helping his business was another way to earn goodwill. That'll be $16. You can just tap here. Great, cent. Leo smiled, completely unbothered. Spending $16 to earn $2,000 was a hell of a deal. Buying this much, the vendor said, handing him the 2 warm bags, must be for your girlfriend. Huh? Man, I envy you young people. Not a care in the world. Huh? Leo let out a strained laugh as he took the bags. What was this guy's problem? He supports his business, and in return, he gets a jab about being single? Like a guy can't eat $16 worth of nuts by himself? Excuse me, how much are your nuts? Just then, Leo's eyes lit up. A slender, pretty girl with a cheerful spring in her step bounced up next to him, smiling at the vendor. She had a classic heart-shaped face, fair skin, and delicate features, especially her cherry pink lips. A baggy university sweatshirt couldn't hide her graceful figure, which radiated a youthful, vibrant energy. Thump, thump. Leo felt his heart hammer against his ribs, and he instinctively took a step back. It wasn't the shyness of love at first sight. It was a standard introvert defense mechanism. When a girl, especially a cheerful, outgoing girl his own age, got too close, his fight-or-flight response kicked in. On the outside, he probably looked aloof and dismissive. On the inside, he was having a full-blown panic attack. He felt like a goblin, huddled in the dark recesses of a cave, suddenly confronted by a radiant elven princess. He desperately wanted to talk to her, but was terrified his own grimy appearance would disgust her. Right now, Leo was that goblin, stealing glances at the bright, sunny elf princess from the corner of his eye. Unfortunately, the elf princess didn't seem to notice the goblin next to her. She was happily chatting with the vendor, trying to decide which flavor to get. Leo turned to leave, sneaking one last look at her. She was genuinely beautiful, with a sweet, sunny personality that made him smile despite himself. In that instant, Leo's overactive imagination kicked into high gear, conjuring up all sorts of romantic scenarios with her. It was the tragic superpower of the lonely and socially awkward. They could build entire worlds in their heads where a beautiful girl went on walks with them, played video games with them, shared their life. But in reality, there were no sweet, fated encounters. It was just a grand fantasy, a way to cope with a life that fell short of their dreams. When the daydream ended, reality crashed back in. Youth, he realized, was turning out to be a whole lot of nothing. Walking home, regret started to set in. He had a literal superpower now, and he still didn't have the guts to talk to her. If this were a novel, the readers would be tearing him to shreds for being such a coward. All he had to do was say something, anything to trigger the system. Even if he screwed it up, the system would be his safety net. But he choked. Years of being a shut-in had made even the simplest act of starting a conversation feel impossible. It was just like that meme said, the hot guys get girlfriends, the ugly guys get girlfriends, but the cowards get nothing. Leo swore to himself, if I ever get another chance, I'm going for it. I'll ask for her number. Just then, he heard a bright, cheerful laugh from behind him. Leo spun around. It was her, the girl from the nut cart. She was walking behind him, clutching her own warm bag of nuts, laughing as she texted on her phone, presumably with a roommate. Oh my God, I totally forgot I'm on a diet. What am I going to do? I got the sweet ones. What? You don't want them either? I can't just throw them away. They were $8. Oh well, the diet can start next week. Hang on, some guy is staring at me. Chloe Miller, deep in conversation with her roommate, looked up and noticed the tall guy in front of her was watching her. She blinked, then tucked her phone away. Her eyes, clear and endearingly innocent, glanced at Leo, then behind her. Seeing no one else, she realized he must be looking at her. She quickly lowered her head, planning to hurry past him. Realizing she'd seen him, Leo's anxiety flared. His mind went blank. What was he supposed to say? Just in time, the system's options appeared. 1. In a mock menacing voice. This is a stick-up, hand over the nuts, and nobody gets hurt. Haha, just kidding. Can I get your number? 2. With a friendly smile. Hey, sorry to bother you, but did you just buy nuts from that guy back there? What flavor did you get? 3. With a smooth approach. Hey, I couldn't help but notice you. You're really beautiful. Can I get your number? Hey, sorry to bother you, but did you just buy nuts from that guy back there? Leo said with a hesitant smile, just as she was about to pass him. What flavor did you get? He'd almost picked the first option, thinking it was humorous, but then realized a cringy joke like that from a total stranger would probably just freak her out, killing any chance of getting her number. The sweet ones. Why? Chloe stopped, eyeing him with a hint of caution. As one of Portland State University's most beautiful students, the unattainable crush of countless guys, Chloe was used to being approached for her number. The semester had only started a few weeks ago, and she'd already turned down so many guys that people were starting to wonder if she was gay. She reflexively assumed this guy with the glasses was just another one, and was already mentally preparing her polite rejection. Leo wasn't surprised. Any girl would be wary of a strange guy striking up a conversation out of the blue. The system's options appeared again. 1. In a serious tone. You know, eating that much sugar is bad for your teeth. And shouldn't a girl like you be watching her weight? 2. With a casual laugh. Ah, see, the vendor messed up my order. I asked for sweet and savory, but he gave me plain instead. I really wanted the sweet ones. You want to trade? 3. With a friendly suggestion. Hey, little miss, you shouldn't walk and text at the same time. Ah, see, the vendor messed up my order, Leo said, instantly dismissing the first, incredibly condescending option. He gave his own bags a little shake. I asked for sweet and savory, but he gave me plain instead. I really wanted the sweet ones. You want to trade? Oh, is that it? Chloe visibly relaxed, relieved that he wasn't just another guy hitting on her. She smiled. Sure, I'm supposed to be on a diet anyway. Leo held out his 2 bags. So, you want the savory or the plain? I'll take the savory. Plain sounds kind of boring, she said after a moment of serious consideration. She took the bag of savory nuts and handed her sweet ones to Leo. Here you go. Thanks, Leo said, feeling a wave of relief. He'd actually managed to talk to the elf princess, and the conversation had started so easily, all over a simple bag of nuts. They continued walking in silence, though a comfortable distance apart. Leo then noticed the PSU logo on her sweatshirt. He graduated from there just 6 months ago. They were alumni. New options popped up. 1. With genuine surprise. Hey, is that a PSU sweatshirt? I just graduated from there last spring. We're practically schoolmates. 2. With a sleazy grin. So you go to PSU, huh? I hear the girls there are wild. Can you introduce me to some of your friends? 3. With a raised eyebrow. Hey, gorgeous, pop quiz. What's your phone number? Reading options 2 and 3 nearly gave him an aneurysm. If he said either of those, she'd be calling the cops, not giving him her number. He feigned surprise. Hey, I just noticed you go to PSU. Chloe turned her head, her own surprise genuine. Yeah, you too. Graduated last spring, Leo said warmly. Small world, huh? Wow. I can't believe I'd run into an alum out here, she said with a sweet smile that made Leo's heart melt. He felt an irrational urge to drag the entire county clerk's office over so they could get married on the spot. Options appeared. 1. Start eating the nuts, then pretend they taste weird and ask her to try one, creating a chance for physical proximity and a more relaxed atmosphere. 2. Sternly, then you should be calling me senior. Don't you have any manners? 3. Quickly pull her into your arms and gently warn her to watch out for traffic. Yeah, me neither, Leo replied with a laugh. He tore open the bag of sweet nuts and started eating. Then he frowned dramatically. Ugh, these taste kind of weird. Are they stale? Huh? Really? She asked, concerned. Leo held the bag out to her. Here, you try. Without a second thought, Chloe took a small step closer, plucked a nut from the bag, and popped it in her mouth. She chewed for a moment, then smiled. Tastes fine to me. Maybe you just got a bad one. Yeah, maybe, Leo said, nodding thoughtfully. You think that's bad? Chloe said with a laugh. I bought a bag of nuts downtown at Pioneer Square once, and half of them were rotten. I was so mad. Leo laughed with her. Haha, that's rough. You didn't go back and demand a refund? The vendor was covered in tattoos. I wasn't about to risk it. Ah, fair enough. It was such a trivial topic, but it effortlessly bridged the gap between them, making the atmosphere comfortable and friendly. Throughout their walk, Leo followed the system's prompts, which consistently steered the conversation toward topics Chloe was interested in. When a subject she was passionate about came up, she would talk animatedly, sharing her opinions. In just 15 minutes, They went from total strangers to friends, chatting warmly. Chloe herself was surprised at how easily she was talking to a guy she'd just met. The topics were all mundane, but for some reason, she was loving the vibe. It was like this guy just knew how to steer the conversation to something she found interesting. By the time they reached a crosswalk at an intersection, Chloe hadn't stopped smiling. This guy was surprisingly funny, way more interesting than the guys at school who just try to flex their money or looks to get her number. Seeing the intersection ahead, Chloe felt a small, inexplicable pang of disappointment. She had to cross the street to catch the bus back to campus. PSU wasn't far from the food truck pod, just 2 stops on the bus. Students who got tired of the dining hall food often came here to eat. I wonder if he's going the same way, she thought, surprised at how much she was enjoying their conversation, even though they'd only known each other for less than half an hour. She was a little shocked at herself for even having the thought. "Well, my bus stop is over there," she said, pointing across the street with a smile. She asked, a little hopefully, "Which way are you headed?" Leo was at a loss for words. His apartment was in the opposite direction. They'd been talking this whole time, and he still hadn't gotten her number. If they parted ways now, would he ever see her again? Would she come back to this street for nuts? As his mind raced, the system's options appeared. 1. With a suggestive eyebrow raise. "I live in the Evergreen Terrace complex. My bed is big and soft. Want to come check it out?" 2. Mysteriously. "My cat can breathe fire, do backflips, and speak English. I'm only telling you this. Want to come see?" 3. With a friendly smile. "I'm heading the other way. But hey, I know this area really well. We should exchange numbers, and next time you're over here, I can show you around." After immediately dismissing option 1, Leo hesitated between 2 and 3. Both seemed plausible, but he leaned toward option 3. He really wanted her number. The words were on the tip of his tongue, but he couldn't force them out. It was his first time ever asking a girl for her number, let alone a girl this beautiful. A small crowd was gathering at the crosswalk, waiting for the light to change. People were stealing glances at the pretty girl standing with him. Under the weight of all those eyes, Leo's social anxiety kicked in hard. He just gave a stiff smile, ignoring the system's prompts entirely, and pointed in the direction of his apartment. He managed to force out a few words. I live over there." "Oh, I see." The smile on Chloe's face faded slightly. Just then, the light turned green, and the crowd began to move. Chloe offered a friendly, if somewhat strained, smile and looked up at him. Her tone was tentative. "Well, I guess I'll get going then." Yeah, okay." Leo was kicking himself internally, but his face remained frozen in a tight smile. He watched as she joined the stream of people crossing the street. "Damn it, you idiot. What's so scary about that?" he muttered to himself once she was lost in the crowd. "It's just asking for a number. It's not like she's going to eat you. Who cares what other people think?" He'd been so wrapped up in their 15-minute conversation that he hadn't even checked her affinity score. But she had been smiling the whole time. He was sure that if he'd asked for her number, she would have said yes. But his social anxiety had won. He'd been too embarrassed to ask a girl for her number in front of a bunch of strangers. Ugh. Leo let out a long, frustrated sigh. Clutching the now-cold bag of nuts, he felt like a zombie trudging toward his apartment under the bleak light of the setting sun. A few minutes later, a familiar voice called out from behind him. "Wait up." Leo froze, his eyes widening. He whipped around, bag of nuts still in hand. Bathed in the golden glow of the sunset, Chloe was running toward him, her own bag of nuts swinging at her side. Her dark hair, catching the light, seemed to turn to gold, dancing on her shoulders as she ran, like a vibrant golden-haired sprite. She reached him, bending over to catch her breath, her hands on her knees. It was clear she wasn't much of a runner. What's wrong?" Leo asked, stunned and flattered. He never imagined the forest sprite would turn back for him. Chloe took a few deep breaths to recover. Then she looked up, a little sheepishly. "You said, you live around here, right?" "Yeah, in that complex, just up ahead," Leo answered honestly, his heart pounding with a mixture of nervousness and hope as he tried to guess why she'd come back. "So, I just started school, and the dining hall food is awful. This is pretty much the only place to eat around here." She pulled out her phone, which had a Pikachu case, and held it up in front of her face, hiding behind it so only her shy eyes were visible. "So, could I get your number? Maybe next time I'm here you could. Show me some good places to eat." Leo stared in disbelief at the girl peeking at him over her phone. He couldn't believe she'd run all the way back, panting and out of breath, to ask for his number. "Yeah, of course. I know this area like the back of my hand. I've lived here for a couple of years," Leo stammered, fumbling for his own phone. He quickly pulled up his contact info, and they exchanged numbers. Her contact name was Chloe_Noth_8 AMs. After adding him, Chloe beamed. Okay, I'm gonna head back now. My roommates and I are having a horror movie night with these nuts. Leo nodded excitedly. Okay, be safe. Just text me next time you're heading this way. Will do. Okay, I'm really going now. Bye, Leo. See you next time. Under the brilliant sunset, she gave him a sweet smile and a wave. The smile was so bright, it reminded Leo of a sappy comment he'd once seen on a beauty influencer's video. Mom, I think I'm in love. Yeah, bye. Bye, Leo said, waving back like an idiot as she walked away. He watched until she had crossed the street and boarded a bus before he finally looked down at his phone, a huge grin spreading across his face as he stared at her new contact entry. As the sun dipped below the horizon, casting long shadows across the street, Leo couldn't help himself. He threw his fist in the air and yelled, Hell yeah, I'm not a goblin anymore. System. What's Chloe's affinity score? How high did it get? Walking home, Leo was already deep in conversation with his internal guide. Based on how she'd acted, running back to get his number, he was excitedly convinced her affinity had to be over 20. Ding! Chloe Miller's affinity toward host is 7. Please continue your efforts. What? The mechanical voice in his ear sent his soaring spirits crashing back to earth. System, are you sure you didn't make a mistake? The vibe between them had been so good. She'd even gone out of her way to ask for his number and called him by his name so sweetly. How could her affinity only be 7? That was even lower than his landlady's starting score. The reading is correct. Current affinity is 7. Please continue your efforts. But she asked for my number. How can it be that low? Thinking back on her radiant smile versus this pathetic score, Leo felt a pang of disappointment. He just couldn't believe that a girl would go out of her way to get a guy's number if she only liked him that little bit. Was she some kind of player? Why else would she do that for such a low affinity score? Host, she called you by name out of politeness. During your previous conversation, the host selected responses that were correct and aligned with her preferences. The omniscient system explained patiently. Girls her age are often drawn to witty and humorous guys, which is why she was willing to exchange contact information. The system's explanation snapped Leo out of his funk. It was a classic case of one of life's 3 great delusions. I can win this fight. My phone is ringing. She's into me. It made sense. As an introvert, Leo hadn't had much experience with women. Meeting someone so beautiful, cheerful, and polite on his first try, and then having her ask for his number, it was only natural he'd assume she was falling for him. And honestly, if her affinity had skyrocketed after just a 15-minute chat, he would have thought she was a little too easy. That definitely wasn't the kind of girl he was looking for. Besides, at least her affinity had increased. That was way better than the guys who simp for their crushes for years, sometimes decades, without ever exchanging more than a few words. When you're pursuing a girl, the worst-case scenario isn't rejection. It's putting your all into it and getting absolutely no reaction at all. Thinking about it that way, Leo felt much better. Chasing a girl was like fighting a boss in a video game. As long as you followed the strategy guide, you couldn't really go wrong. And Leo wasn't just following the guide. He was playing with cheats enabled. He had nothing to worry about. He pulled out his phone, found Chloe's contact, and sent a text. Did you make it back to campus okay? After a few minutes, his phone buzzed. It wasn't Chloe. It was from the number he'd gotten that afternoon, his landlady. Isabel Vance. Hey Leo, have you eaten yet? I made dinner if you want to come over. Winking face attached to the message was a photo of several home-cooked dishes that looked delicious. In the background of the picture, a little girl with pigtails sat at the table, holding up her fork with a huge grin. She was adorable. 1. Thanks, Isabel. That looks amazing. I've already eaten, though. Maybe next time. 2. Mrs. Vance, please have some self-respect. We've known each other for less than a day, and you're already inviting me over? I'm an innocent young man. 3. Wow, that looks delicious. Is that your daughter in the picture? She's so cute. After dismissing option 2, Leo hesitated between 1 and 3. Both were reasonable. He was about to choose one when he remembered a TikTok he'd seen recently. The video claimed that if you wanted to get on a single mom's good side, you should shower her kid with attention. Leo didn't know Isabel's exact situation, but if she was bold enough to invite a guy she'd just met over for dinner, she was probably divorced or her husband was out of town. Besides, the little girl really was cute. The compliment was genuine. He typed out the response from option 3 and added a thumbs-up emoji. Instantly, the system's notification chimed in his mind. Ding! Isabel Vance's affinity toward host has increased by 5 points. Current affinity, 15. Please continue your efforts. Holy crap, 5 points for one sentence? TikTok never lies. As Leo celebrated, another message from Isabel came through. She's a little monster, honestly. Always running around and making a racket, a total tomboy. Faced with tears of joy despite her self-deprecating words, she attached another picture of her daughter. It was clear she adored her. But then again, what parent doesn't love their child? Especially a single mother like Isabel, who likely valued her child more than anything. Haha, little girls are like that. My little sister was a handful when she was young. With that, Leo began to focus the conversation entirely on Isabel's daughter. It was like he'd unlocked a secret door. Isabel's replies switched from text to enthusiastic voice messages. After about 15 minutes of chatting, Leo politely bowed out. Well, I just finished eating, Isabel. I'll have to take you up on that dinner offer another time. Isabel Vance. Okay. Smiling face with smiling eyes. Seeing the cute emoji after her message, Leo couldn't help but laugh. There was something disarming about an older woman trying to be cute. Ding! Isabel Vance's affinity toward host has increased by 9 points. Current affinity, 24. Please continue your efforts. That was fast. Leo swallowed, both impressed and a little intimidated. He used to be skeptical of those stories about manipulative players, the kind of guys who could get a girl they just met into bed in one day, drain her bank account in 2, and leave her with nothing but regret by day 3. He'd always thought that women today were too smart to fall for that. Now, he wasn't so sure. Those stories probably weren't exaggerated. With the right words, he felt like he could probably turn a girl into a woman in less than a day. The power of conversation was terrifyingly effective. Thinking about those tabloid stories and looking at Isabel's cute emoji, Leo couldn't help but picture his landlady's stunning, mature figure. If he managed to max out her affinity, could he and the gorgeous older woman play some adult games? Isabel's affinity was only at 24, but Leo knew that was deceptively low. They had known each other for less than 2 hours and hadn't even talked that much. Plus, this was an affinity score, a direct, numerical representation of another person's inner feelings toward you. It was a scorecard of your every interaction. To put it crudely, it was the key card that determined whether a woman would be willing to engage in a deeper exchange with you. Just a few sentences had been enough to raise his score this much with a worldly woman like Isabel. It was a testament to how ridiculously powerful the system was, far beyond what any normal flesh-and-blood player could ever hope to achieve. Of course, the system had said it tailored the options based on the target's personality. Ultimately, it was still up to Leo to execute the play. Back in his apartment, Chloe's chat window finally lit up. Just got out of the shower. About to watch a scary movie with my roommates. Ganjiam. Haunted Asylum. The scariest movie in Korea. Smiling face with sunglasses. The smug emoji was followed by a picture. Leo tapped to enlarge it and immediately felt a rush of heat. The photo was of a laptop on a desk, playing the horror movie. But at the bottom of the frame were a pair of long, slender, perfectly shaped feet, still glistening with droplets of water. She really had just gotten out of the shower. Several other girls were in the shot, and none of them were unattractive. The short-haired girl closest to Chloe, munching on chips, was a knockout, easily on par with Chloe herself. She had a beautiful oval face, big, sparkling eyes, a high-bridged nose, and a small, delicate mouth, with skin so fair it looked like it was made of porcelain. Aside from a short-haired girl, the others were huddled together, clutching pillows, clearly wanting to watch, but too scared. The photo seemed to have been taken casually. Leo didn't think Chloe was the type of girl to intentionally send a picture of her feet to a guy she just met. Sure enough, the image was quickly deleted, replaced by an embarrassed emoji. Did you see that? 1, I saw. And I want to lick them from heel to toe. 2, see what? What did you delete? 3, yeah, I saw. Your roommates are such babies. That movie isn't even that scary. Honestly, as a man with a serious appreciation for feet, Leo was tempted to pick option 1. But he was also pretty sure that would earn him an instant block, complete with a bright red exclamation mark. Yeah, I saw. Your roommates are such babies. That movie isn't even that scary. Faced with tears of joy, Leo went with option 3. If he played his cards right, he'd get to appreciate those feet in person one day. Chloe had just meant to send a quick snap of her movie night with her roommates, but she'd accidentally gotten her legs and her friends in the shot. Thankfully, his attention seemed to be on the movie, not the other details. She let out a small sigh of relief and, feeling a flutter of excitement, quickly typed a reply. Excuse me, this is like the scariest Korean horror movie ever. I heard people literally had heart attacks in the theater when it came out. I doubt it's that dramatic. I watched it alone. At night. You're brave. I could never watch a horror movie by myself. I love them, but I'm a total scaredy cat, just like them. All bark and no bite. Faced with tears of joy. 1. If you're scared, you shouldn't watch. You could give yourself a heart attack. 2. What's the name of that short-haired girl next to you? Can you give me your number? 3. Share the 30-second video from your TikTok favorites with her. And tell her to learn the technique in the video. Then she won't be scared anymore. The 30-second video in my TikTok favorites? Leo opened the app, scrolled to his saved videos, found the 30-second one, and burst out laughing. He immediately sent it to Chloe. I've got a trick for you. Learn this, and you'll never be scared of horror movies again. Really? Chloe asked, intrigued. She tapped the link. The video showed a girl watching a horror movie. A ghost popped up, making her jump. But the next second, the girl whipped out her phone and started playing an episode of Teletubbies, clapping along and chanting "Oh" to hype herself up. Haha, that's hilarious. Chloe laughed so hard her roommates all turned to look at her, confused. She quickly angled her phone screen down, rolled over to face the wall, and typed back, still giggling. OMG, that video is amazing. I'm dying. Face with tears of joy. See? Feeling less scared already, right? Winking face. Hey, you know what? I kind of do. But I don't think I could do that in the dorm. My roommates already think I'm crazy. Ding. Chloe Miller's affinity toward host has increased by 2 points. Current affinity, 9. Please continue your efforts. Hearing the system's notification, Leo felt a surge of motivation. He was clearly on the right track. For the rest of the evening, Leo carefully selected the system's recommended responses. Each time he sent one, Chloe's reply was almost instantaneous. Sometimes he'd barely finish typing his message when her next one would already pop up. The further they got into the conversation, the more emojis she used. Every message started or ended with a cute, girly sticker or emoji. Leo could feel a genuine eagerness in her replies, a desire to keep the conversation going. By the time the 2-hour movie was over, Chloe was still completely engrossed in her chat with Leo. She didn't even notice that her roommates had crept over and were now huddled on her bed, peering over her shoulder at her phone. Is it really that good? Next time I'm over there, you have to take me. We can go Dutch, or my treat. One of her roommates read aloud in a high-pitched, mocking voice. Chloe snapped back to reality, realizing her friends were all looking at her with mischievous, all-knowing grins. What are you guys doing? She yelped, her face flushing as she quickly locked her phone, terrified they'd seen her chat history. Chloe, what department is he in? Is he cute? Is it that guy who asked for your number the other day? The one from the business school? Come on, tell us. We promise we won't tell anyone. Their inner gossips were on fire. They couldn't believe that Chloe, the ice queen who rejected everyone, the dream girl of countless guys on campus, was actually chatting so intently with a boy. If the other guys on campus found out Chloe was flirting with someone, they were sure the PSU confession pages and forums would explode. They'd launch a full-scale investigation to unearth this mystery man. It's not like that. Stop making things up. He's just a friend, Chloe argued. Her face beat red as she tried to change the subject. Weren't you guys watching the movie? Why are you so interested in my business? Oh, honey, the movie ended ages ago. How obsessed with this guy are you? One of her roommates teased, before musing aloud, I'm just curious what kind of charm this guy has to get the campus queen of PSU this flustered. I told you it's not. Wait, the movie's over. Chloe looked at the laptop screen in disbelief. The credits were rolling. It was a 2-hour movie. That meant she and Leo had been talking for over 2 hours straight. The time had flown by. Seeing that Chloe was sticking to her story, her friends let it drop. One went to take a shower, another started studying vocabulary, and the dorm room returned to its usual buzz of activity. The short-haired girl closed the movie tab and opened up League of Legends to queue for a ranked game. Hey, Chloe. While waiting in the queue, the short-haired girl glanced at her other roommate, who was now listening to English vocabulary with headphones on, before scrambling onto Chloe's bed. She lowered her voice excitedly. Seriously, is this guy from our school? I've been your best friend for like 8 years. You can't hide it from me. The short-haired girl was Maya Pierce, Chloe's friend since middle school. Their parents were close, and they had practically grown up together, as close as sisters. They shared everything. Unlike the sunny and sweet Chloe, Maya was a player, at least online. She was a huge gamer, but unfortunately, her skills didn't match her passion. She was constantly getting flamed by her teammates. So, she created profiles on various gaming forums, posting cute selfies to attract lonely gamer guys to carry her. With her sweet, almost sultry voice and her master-level flirting skills, she had a rotating cast of simps boosting her accounts. She'd even had a few minor streamers act as her personal boosters. But the moment any of them asked to meet up or video chat, she would block them and find new sucker. For her, games were games, and reality was reality. She had no interest in dating some unambitious loser who did nothing but play video games all day. Unless, of course, he was ridiculously hot. That was a different story. Seriously, it's not what you think, Chloe mumbled, her cheeks still pink. I just met him this afternoon when I went out to get nuts. How could he be my boyfriend? What? You met him for a few minutes, and he already asked for your number, and you gave it to him? Maya asked, incredulous. Since when did you get so easy? Chloe opened her mouth, then closed it again. She didn't know how to explain, and she was too embarrassed to admit that she had been the one to run back and ask for his number. Ugh, are you sure this guy isn't a player? Maya warned. That Kyle Brandon guy from the economics department has been chasing you for months, buying you breakfast, offering to take you for drives in his sports car, and you won't even give him the time of day. I don't think so. He seemed really nervous when he talked to me. Kind of socially awkward, actually, Chloe replied honestly. Players are expert actors, Maya said seriously. Let me see your chat history. As your best friend, it's my duty to screen this guy for you. Chloe thought about it for a moment and handed her phone over, opening up her conversation with Leo. Even though Maya's experience was mostly online, Chloe still considered her a seasoned expert in the art of romance. Maya scrolled through the chat history, and even she felt a little impressed. The guy knew what he was doing. You could see it in Chloe's replies. The progression from polite and reserved to using a mountain of cute emojis. He was slowly and methodically breaking down her defenses. If they weren't in a dorm room surrounded by roommates, Maya was sure her naive best friend would have already moved on to voice calls or even video chat. Chloe, watching over her shoulder, was surprised. While she was in the conversation, she hadn't noticed how much they had talked. Looking back at it now, she was shocked by the sheer volume of their chat. So, what do you think? Is he a player? Chloe asked nervously, watching Maya's serious expression. She didn't even know why she was so anxious about the verdict. Maybe she was worried that if he was a player, she'd have to stop talking to him. He could be, but I'm not sure, Maya gave a non-committal answer. In the chat, Leo's replies were all friendly and normal. He wasn't overtly trying to steer the conversation toward things Chloe liked. It all seemed to flow naturally. It was a little too smooth, but there was no hard evidence to label him a player. Wait, I know. We'll check his social media, Maya said, slapping Chloe's thigh in a eureka moment. Chloe rubbed her leg. What can you tell from that? Duh. A player's profile is all about broadcasting availability. It's designed to make them seem single and easy to approach, Maya explained expertly. Guys do the same thing, but they usually add a layer of sad boy bait, like posting about a recent breakup. Then they just wait for girls to slide into their DMs to comfort them, and boom, mission accomplished. The explanation went completely over Chloe's innocent head. She just rubbed her forehead and sighed. Your world is so complicated. Hey, I may be a player, but I never take anything from those guys except a few ranks in a video game, Maya said, sticking her tongue out playfully. How else do you think I have so many accounts in Diamond? After her joke, Maya opened Leo's social media profile. His handle was offline mode. Leo's profile wasn't set to private or friends only. Anyone could see it. November 24th. Grandmaster tier, 21 kills. Details make the difference. Victory is no accident. NOV 28th. Hit 1000 LP on both servers in the new TFT set. Let's go. Deck 21st. New Year's is almost here. Goal for next year. Save up for a down payment. Deck 23rd. I walk on thin ice my whole life. Will I ever make it to the other side? For a guy to be socially awkward was one thing. To be a homebody was fine. Not having a girlfriend, whatever. But if you're going to spend all your free time at home, you'd better be damn good at video games. Otherwise, you might as well just start over. And Leo was good. He could easily hold his own against professional players and famous streamers. Outside of his writing, most of his time was spent immersed in the world of gaming. He considered becoming a streamer before, but his social anxiety and awkwardness on the mic had quickly shut down that idea. As a result, his social media was almost entirely gaming-related, with the occasional self-motivational post thrown in. Maya scrolled all the way to the beginning and found nothing that screamed player. Okay, looks like he's clean, Maya said, handing the phone back to Chloe. She then teased. I thought you said you were into the dangerous intellectual type. When did you switch to gamer nerds? I told you, we're just friends. I don't even know what he does for a living, Chloe retorted, a little embarrassed. Then she asked curiously. And you can tell he's not a player just from his profile? First, his profile isn't private, which shows he's not trying to hide anything. And second, Maya couldn't help but laugh. Have you ever seen a player whose feed is nothing but video games? If this guy is a player, then all the guys who boost me must be saints. Still, he's pretty good at games, Maya noted, locking in her support champion. She turned to Chloe. If you're not going to date him, you have to give me his contact info. I need to get my Smurf account to Diamond. We just met. Who said anything about dating? I don't even know what he does, Chloe muttered defensively. She took her phone, crawled under her covers, and stared at Leo's profile with a small smile. Good. He's not a player. Having just moved, Leo's apartment was still mostly empty, aside from the few essentials he'd brought over the night before. The next morning, he woke up early and rode his e-scooter to the nearest supermarket to stock up. Around 9, he returned to the complex. His building had a dedicated charging room for e-scooters, which was convenient. No need to run a long extension cord down from his apartment window. Leo, just as he plugged his scooter in, he heard a familiar female voice behind him. It was his landlady, Isabel Vance. She was holding the hand of a little girl with a high ponytail, the same girl from the pictures yesterday. The weather was nice, and Isabel was wearing a chic, black chiffon jumpsuit. Her dark hair was piled high on her head, revealing the elegant line of her neck and a hint of her collarbone. Her figure was stunning, all alluring curves and mature, womanly charm. Leo noticed she was also carrying a grocery bag from the same supermarket he'd just been to, filled with fruits and vegetables. He smiled, looking for an opening. Isabel, hey, you were at Food Mart too? I didn't see you. Isabel smiled back. I saw you, actually, but it was so crowded in there, I didn't want to shout. Quack, quack. Just as Leo was about to reply, the little rubber duck toy mounted on his scooter's handlebars let out a sudden squeak. The little culprit who had squeezed it yelped and quickly hid behind Isabel, clutching her mother's leg and peeking out at the tall man talking to her mom. See? A little monster, Isabel said, ruffling her daughter's hair with a fond, exasperated smile. Her words were a complaint, but her tone was full of love. Leo just smiled, and then the system's options appeared. 1. Take the duck toy off and give it to Maddie. Ask her age or what grade she's in to start a friendly interaction. 2. Sternly lecture Maddie, warning her that a child who steals a pin will grow up to steal gold. 3. Squat down in front of Maddie and say with a grin, "This duck is no fun. Want to see my big duck?" All little girls are mischievous. You should have seen my sister when she was that age, Leo said. He detached the duck from his handlebars, crouched down in front of the little girl, and squeezed it a few times. Quack, quack. Here, Maddie. You can have the duck. Oh, you don't have to do that, Leo, Isabel said, waving a hand. It's fine. It was like $2 on Amazon. Maddie reached out a tiny hand, then quickly pulled it back, looking up at her mother with big, hopeful eyes. Silly girl. What do you say to the nice man? Isabel said, stroking her daughter's head. Maddie stepped out from behind her mother's leg and shyly took the duck. Thank you, Mr. Leo, she said in a tiny, sweet voice. You're welcome. Leo smiled and gently ruffled her hair. He then pretended to guess. Let me see. Maddie, you must be in preschool, right? Nope. The little girl shook her head vigorously, her voice full of pride. I'm in kindergarten. Wow, kindergarten? That's so cool. You're a big girl now, Leo said with exaggerated surprise. He already knew all of this from his chat with Isabel the night before. He'd intentionally guessed wrong to give the little girl a chance to proudly correct him, giving him the perfect opportunity to praise her. Most kids love to show off what they know to strangers, no matter how small the detail. This wasn't a trick from the system. This was just Leo's own experience. After all, he had 2 little monsters just like her back home. Or at least, they used to be little. Ding! Isabel Vance's affinity for you increased by 6 points, now at 30. Keep it up. Just as I thought. Leo rubbed the little girl's head and stood up. To catch the attention of a single mom, no amount of checking in on her beats being kind to her kid. Isabel watched them interact with a content smile. The heartwarming scene filled the divorced woman's long empty heart with an inexplicable happiness. Leo, you free for lunch? Want to come over to my place? Isabel asked with a beaming smile. You're probably just grabbing something quick anyway. Come on over. I'll make you some sweet and sour ribs. 1. I'd love to, but what if your husband comes home and gets the wrong idea? 2. Not really into sweet and sour ribs. Could you serve up some abalone instead? 3. Sure, I'd love to try your cooking, but is it convenient? Sure, I'd love to try your cooking. Leo scratched his head sheepishly, subtly probing her family situation. But is it convenient? Of course it is. Isabel replied cheerfully, openly explaining, it's just me and my daughter at home. No issue at all. Come on by. Well, if you insist. Leo realized Isabel was indeed divorced and agreed with a shy smile. Where do you live? I'll drop my stuff off and head over. Building 3, Unit 1702. Got it. It's getting late. I'll head back and start cooking. Isabel looked down at the girl. Maddie, say goodbye to Leo. The kid waved obediently, squeezing the toy duck Leo gave her, making it quack. Bye, Leo. Thanks for the ducky. No problem. Leo waved back at the pair, his heart stirring oddly as he watched Isabel's graceful figure. They'd just met, and already he was invited for a meal at her place. He set up his new groceries at home, played a couple games, then Isabel texted that it was ready. Heading to a single mom's place for lunch, with her kid there, made Leo a bit nervous. He thought about bringing fruit, But since they were neighbors and it was casual, he went empty-handed. At Building 3, the aroma of fried food with a hint of sweetness hit him at her door. These older apartment complexes had that lived-in vibe, with neighbors actually helping each other out. Not like those upscale spots where everyone ignores each other. And in Portland, where real estate was sky-high, this unassuming complex was worth at least 9 figures. Right now, the sole owner of it all, the billionaire landlady, was inside. Leo rang the bell, and Isabel's voice called out, "Maddie, Leo's here. Mommy's busy. Go open the door." Okay. Cheerful footsteps approached. The door creaked open, and a little head peeked out, staring cutely before breaking into a grin. "Leo, you're here." Kids warm up fast, especially since Leo made a good impression, and her mom seemed to like this tall guy too. Maddie jumped onto his leg, looking up with big, blinking eyes. "Mom made sweet and sour ribs today." "Did she?" Leo was great with kids. He shut the door, scooped her up one-armed. "Do you like sweet and sour ribs, Maddie?" She blushed a bit, but nodded, sneaking glances at this friendly big brother. "Leo, you're here?" Isabel heard the noise and came out with a spatula. "Sit tight. I'll make some soup, then we eat." Leo noticed she'd changed. A black bodycon skirt, the infamous stepmom skirt, with nude stockings on her long legs. It hugged her curves perfectly. At first glance, he thought she was average, but this outfit brought out her allure. Like the poem, a ridge from the side, a peak from the front, different from every angle. Leo glanced once, then said politely, "No need to go all out. Something simple's fine." "It's no trouble. Watch TV with Maddie. Almost done." Isabel waved the spatula with a small sigh of disappointment and headed back to the kitchen. "Am I gaining weight?" In the kitchen, she glanced down at herself, sighing glumly. She'd mustered the courage to wear this bold outfit, hoping for a compliment, but his reaction was mild. In the living room, Leo and the girls sat on the sofa watching cartoons. She chattered endlessly about the show. Leo wasn't really watching, but responded enthusiastically, glancing around the apartment, his eyes eventually landing on Isabel's back in the kitchen. From this angle, he could see her chopping green onions skillfully, checking the soup pot. In that flirty skirt, her homemaking looked sexy with an indescribable charm, especially that full, round behind. Any guy seeing this would want to wrap his arms around her from behind. At her billionaire status, and even with a kid and a divorce, she'd have men with a serious thing for powerful widows lining up, ready to kneel at her feet. "I want to sit next to Leo." Once the food was ready, Maddie dragged her cartoon stool over excitedly and plopped down beside him. Her cuteness made Isabel chuckle. They say daughters are mom's little jackets, but look at you, already turning outward. Leo liked the kid too, serving her a rib. She munched happily, eyes squinting in delight. Watching their bond, Isabel smiled contentedly, feeling a homey warmth. In Portland's materialistic scene, single moms like Isabel were common. They had million-dollar condos, luxury cars, wealth most could only dream of, but no love or family. Facing lavish emptiness in huge homes stirred inescapable loneliness. They craved normal family belonging and reliance on a man. But their riches attracted only opportunists. They'd grown numb, adapting to the grind alone. Deep down, though, they hoped for a guy to fill that void. For Isabel, this shy but sincere young man seemed like the one she favored. Ding! Isabel Vance's affinity for you increased by 10 points, now at 40. "Keep it up." Leo nearly choked on his rice. What? He hadn't done anything, yet the landlady's affinity jumped? After eating, Isabel cleared the table. With her wealth, she could hire a nanny, but recent nanny scandals made her wary. Her daughter was everything, and she didn't want outsiders in their lives. She handled the chores herself. "Isabel, let me help." Leo rolled up his sleeves. She shook her head with a playful glare. "No way. Guests don't help. It's fine, I do this at home all the time." Leo neatly stacked the dishes and headed to the kitchen. "Aw, Leo, you're too polite." Isabel followed, smiling, and they stood side by side at the sink, washing up. She glanced at him focused on the task, feeling like a couple, her cheeks flushing. "Ahem, Leo, you said you just graduated recently, right?" Isabel coughed, starting conversation. "What do you do now?" Basic chit-chat was easy for Leo. "Don't laugh, but I'm a web fiction author." "Web fiction author?" "Yeah, writing stories online." "Wow, didn't peg you for a big writer." Isabel exclaimed in surprise. Leo scratched his head shyly, self-deprecating. "Hardly big. About 2 to 3 grand a month, just enough for basics." "That's great, though." Isabel comforted like a big sister. "Portland's tough for money. Lots of grads hustle for 1 or 2 grand. You're doing awesome." No wonder guys liked mature women. They got men's hidden struggles, soothing egos with simple words in career or life. So, Leo, your girlfriend doesn't live with you? What does she do? Isabel asked casually, staring at the dishes, scrubbing harder. 1. I barely leave home. Where would I meet girls? I can't even talk to them on the street. 2. Just met a girl yesterday, gorgeous, same college. Planning to pursue her. 3. Young girls are boring. I like married women, especially with kids. My favorite, never talk about another woman in front of one. Even socially awkward Leo knew that. I barely leave home. Where would I meet girls? He laughed self-mockingly. I can't even talk to them on the street. Oh, really? Isabel smiled sweetly, her scrubbing gentling. Leo, what do you think about? Crackle. Fireworks exploded outside, startling her. Maddie covered her ears, bounding in, tugging Leo's pants and pointing. Leo, fireworks outside. I can't see, piggyback me. Sure. Leo wiped his hands, grabbed her chubby hand, and hoisted her onto his shoulders. She clamped his neck happily, short legs kicking. Hurry, Leo. The fireworks are ending. On it. Leo nodded, laughing, then asked as he left the kitchen. Isabel, what were you saying? Nothing. Isabel smiled guiltily. Go watch with Maddie. Probably a young couple across the way getting married. Yeah. Leo nodded, holding her legs as he ran to the window. Fireworks time. Hearing Maddie's joyful laughs, Isabel shook her head amusedly. Little brat, always ruining my plans. After dishes, Isabel dried her hands and joined them in the living room. The window scene stunned the lonely single woman, her refined but aged face smiling warmly. Leo had Maddie on his shoulders, her pointing excitedly at wedding cars, both laughing freely. When fireworks lit, she covered his ears thoughtfully. Sunlight bathed them in a dad-daughter glow, making Isabel smile dreamily, murmuring, if only this could last forever. Ding! Isabel Vance's affinity for you increased by 5 points, now at 45. Keep it up. Hearing the system, Leo turned, seeing Isabel leaning in the kitchen doorway, gazing at him with immersed contentment. This mind-reading data made him rub his nose awkwardly, lowering the squirming kid. Isabel, it's getting late. I'll head out. Huh, stay a bit longer. It's still early. Isabel's tone held reluctance. I bought cherries today. I'll wash some for you and Maddie. Yeah, stay, Leo. Maddie tugged his hand, pouting cutely. Indifferent. Play what? Your daughter's here, and you're not letting me play anyway. Why stay? Resentful. Sigh. Sis, you're loaded. You can play anytime. Not me. I gotta earn a living. Play hard to get. I'd love to, but if I don't update my story today, I lose my perfect attendance bonus. I'd love to, but if I don't update my story today, I lose my perfect attendance bonus. Leo crouched, pinching Maddie's soft cheek. Be good. Next time I'll bring another ducky. Okay. She nodded reluctantly, lips pursed. Then come for dinner, Leo. Isabel invited again. I'm making chicken soup. Come try some. Sorry, Isabel. Heading to my mom's tonight. Leo scratched his head. In a few days, when I'm free, I'll come taste your cooking. All right. Isabel smiled helplessly, watching him leave. The door shut, and emptiness hit the quiet living room. She thought she was used to loneliness after years, but seeing her sulking daughter squeezing the duck toy on the sofa tugged at her heart. Maddie, nap time. Sighing softly, Isabel went to change into pajamas. No nap. I want to play with Leo. The kid rolled sulkily on the sofa. Listen, Isabel yawned. Her phone dinged. A text from Leo. Offline mode. Thanks for the meal today. Isabel smiled, typing back. Mama Bear. No big deal, just lunch. Come anytime if you're free. Always welcome. Offline mode. Haha, sure. Gotta get to work now. Mama Bear. Okay. Thinking that was it, she slipped off her skirt straps in the bedroom when another message came. Offline mode. Also, that outfit looks great on you. The skirt suits you perfectly. Stun me at the door, but I'm too awkward to say in person. The message thrilled her. She thought he hadn't noticed. Now, like a teen with a crush, she was overjoyed. Really? I felt too old for young girl clothes. Offline mode. Not at all. It fits you. Thumbs up plus rose. Mama Bear. Thanks. Cute. They chatted a bit more before she powered off, heart full. Clutching the warm phone on the bed, emptiness faded, replaced by excitement. She put away her old pajamas, hurried to the mirror, twisting her slim waist. Gazing at her still alluring self, she felt thrilled. At the vanity she primped for ages, grabbed her Chanel bag, slipped on long and used stilettos, and called her daughter cheerfully. Maddie, no nap, shopping with Mom. Yay, Mom's the best. Ding. Isabel Vance's affinity for you increased by 5 points, now at 50. Keep it up. Ding. Isabel Vance's affinity hit 50. Viewer profile. Ding. Affinity at 50 unlocks a mystery box. Open. View profile. Eager, Leo opened Isabel's info. He hadn't planned to keep texting, but seeing he needed 5 more for the profile and box, he messaged her. With system help, he hit 50. Name, Isabel Vance. Gender, female. Age, 36. Looks, 8'9". Height, 5'6" weight, 119 lbs. Hobbies, yoga, shopping, mahjong. Measurements, 33-20-36. Affinity for you, 50. Marital status, divorced with child. Current mood, excited, hopeful for the future. Current location, Evergreen Terrace parking lot. Intimate encounters, 12. Only 12. Leo blinked, chuckling. Maybe that's why she divorced. Hubby couldn't keep up? At 36 with a kid, 12 was low. Thinking of her alluring figure, and that number heated him up. Women her age supposedly had strong desires, true or not. Her affinity was only halfway to max, but on others, it'd mean a movie and dinner could seal the deal. Basically, full affinity wasn't needed for fun. It depended on personality. Open types might go for it at 20-30. So 50 was high, like a teen in love's peak. Even traditional, experienced Isabel at 50 wore that stepmom skirt to draw his eye. Leo noticed the location was real-time. Isabel shifted from parking lot to Portland's shopping district. He murmured thoughtfully, this feature digs up everything, or speeds up winning them over. With hobbies and details, he could target chats to boost affinity precisely. Oh, the mystery box. Leo slapped his palm. System, open it. Ding. Congrats, you got Body Boost Serum. Body Boost Serum. Drink to massively improve your physical condition. Leo's eyes lit up. Years of sitting and late nights had wrecked him. Who'd think a 24-year-old had back pain, dizziness, fatigue? He wanted to exercise, but laziness won. Always tomorrow. Excuses piling up. Now this serum skipped the grind for a perfect body. A dark green bottle appeared, like bug spray. Leo uncapped the thumb-sized vial, downed the viscous liquid completely. To waste none, he rinsed with water and drank that too, tossing the bottle satisfied. Effects hit fast. Heat surged like a sauna, pores sweating. Muscles ached faintly, like tearing scabs for new growth. Waist and abs felt strongest, like internal surgery. Too hot, he stripped his soaked clothes and showered. After 10 minutes, the remolding stopped. At the mirror, a sculpted, wheat-toned body stared back, especially the glistening, chiseled 8-pack. Comic book perfect, even Leo gawked, touching it all over. Down below, little Leo had transformed too. Wait. Staring at his clear reflection, he grinned incredulously. My nearsightedness is gone. Overuse and screen time had pushed him to 800 degrees. Post-shower without glasses, everything blurred. Now, no glasses, vision was crystal, better than normal, like 4K Ultra HD. This is Body Boost Serum? Freaking awesome. Leo clenched his fist, energy endless, body light. Dried and dressed, his vibe was vibrant. No more sluggish otaku, just sunny health. Damn, you're hot. He checked his front camera, admiring the change, smirking. Wonder whose girl gets this jackpot. Around 6 p.m., heading out for dinner, 2 texts popped up. Bloodsucker number 1. Old man, new place set up? I'm downstairs. Come greet your queen. Bloodsucker number 2. Bro, me and sis are at the gate. No access card. Security won't let us in. Come get us. These were his twin sisters, Riley and Sophie Shepard. From the contacts, clear how annoying they were. Just turned 18, high school seniors at the same school. Twins born minutes apart, but polar opposites. Riley was always mischievous, tagging along with Leo and his buddies for antics. Egg hunts, pranks, stuff girls avoided, she loved. Grown up, she was rebellious, foul-mouthed, fluent in gamer slang. He'd heard she fought local punks. Since middle school, no more bro, just mocking nicknames, now old man. Sophie was easy, top grades, obedient. Her flaw, super clingy to Leo. From toddler days, she tailed him everywhere. If left out, tears flowed till he caved and coaxed her. His kid-handling skills? All thanks to these two. Bloodsuckers, because since he started writing and earning, they'd beg for cash, tens to hundreds. His hard-earned money mostly went to them. Their classic line, "Old man, what ya doing? Drop some cash." Then Riley video called impatiently. Leo hung up, firing back a panda emoji irritably. "Quit rushing." She shot back a panda. "What? Dog barking." Leo laughed despite annoyance. He didn't get why guys wanted sisters. Can't hit or yell, just pamper like princesses. Heaven sent torment. Keys in hand, he went down to the courtyard, spotting the uniformed duo chatting at the gate. Easy to tell apart. Sophie had a neat high ponytail, beaming sweetly, chatting animatedly with her sister. Riley had short, sharp hair, smirking arrogantly, gesturing dismissively. Both were stunners, popular at school. Sophie especially, with her kind smile drawing crushes. Leo's otaku pals joked he was adopted, sisters so hot, yet he wasn't even a third as good-looking. His looks were decent, but low-key and gloomy in high school, buried in phone novels, plus post-grad all-nighters, tanked his vibe. As he neared the gate, Sophie's face lit up, but her greeting froze. Riley gaped like seeing an alien. Leo, chin lifted amusedly. What? Don't know your brother. Silence hit. They exchanged glances. Riley blurted shocked. Who the hell are you? I'm your damn brother. Leo reminded grumpily. 1 month and you forget? Riley scanned the sunny hunk head to toe, disbelieving. No way. You're Leo? She couldn't buy this fit guy, was her shut-in gamer bro. Before school started, his social post about getting in shape, she'd mocked it'd fizzle. But in a month, he transformed, like rebuilt. Sophie poked his firm abs, lifting his shirt to reveal the pack, thrilled. Whoa, sis, bro's got abs. Seeing the toned 8-pack, Riley's heart skipped, but she scoffed. Puffed. Probably protein shakes, big deal. Quit spazzing. Leo pinched Sophie's cheek, pushing her off, fixing his shirt. Enough chit-chat, what's up? School's out, can't hang with you? Sophie latched on, hugging his arm cutely. Which building? Show us. Leo sighed, leading them to his studio. Sophie scanned, curiously, videoed for Mom, then asked surprised. You live here? Rent. Leo tossed keys on the table. $1,000 a month. Sophie nodded, okay with it. Messy as a doghouse. Riley griped, flopping on his bed, scrolling TikTok lazily. Sophie sat beside, staring at Leo dumbly, legs swinging, grinning occasionally. Room quieted, Riley's TikTok loud. Watch this guy named Buff. All right, Shu, you're bugging me. Minutes in, Leo griped. I'll book a nearby hotel. Go play there. Sophie blinked. Bro? Payday. Yeah, made some extra. Leo regretted instantly. Sophie glued to him, hugging his waist pleadingly. Bro, I this outfit but short on cash. Parents' allowance late. You don't want your sis in uniform forever? Just $50. I'll pay back post-grad job. You're right, by then I'm starved. Leo pushed her head away annoyed, but transferred $200. From Isabel alone, he netted 50 grand. 200 was nothing. Plus, family. If not hiding his windfall, he'd give more. Whoa, 200. Sophie's eyes sparkled. Bro, big tipper? Generous. What? 200. Riley bolted up from TikTok. Me too, old man. Hook me up. Leo crossed arms smugly. Sure, call me bro, and it's yours. He couldn't recall her last bro. Always sarcasm, bratty attitude. Now, chance to teach the trash talker. Riley froze, cheeks tinting faintly, hurling a pillow. Drop dead, geezer. Leo shrugged indifferently. No call, no cash. Up, I'm eating out. But Riley pounced like an octopus, grabbing for his phone to transfer. Strong for a girl, beat some guys. Pre-boost Leo often got pinned and robbed. Now, different. He grabbed her waist, tossed her on the bed bouncing, nearly off. Think I trained for nothing. Leo smirked at her stun. Times changed, lil sis. Next second, she tantrumed on the bed, wailing. Wah, telling Dad you hit me. Seeing her kid-like fit, Leo twitched. Quit whining. Knowing the act, but helpless, he sent her 202. Ding. Her cries stopped, smirking triumphantly. Gotcha. Leo's brow twitched, eyeing his dramatic sisters, chuckling ruefully. Stuck with you clowns. Must owe from last life. Around 7 p.m., Leo took the sisters out for hot pot at the steamy pot. Sure, he griped about them, but they were blood, he doted. Rare meetup. No way he'd send them off quick. After ordering, they chattered about school, weird roommates, girl stuff. Leo listened quietly, feeling proud, like watching them grow up. Time flew. These teens were once his cute shadows, etched in memory. If only less annoying. He sighed inwardly. Then Chloe texted. Chloe Anderson, 8 a.m.s, so bored. What are you up to? Leo replied. Eating out. You? Binging horror. Chloe Anderson, 8 a.m.s. Nah. Zoning in dorm. No clue for dinner. Cafeteria food sucks. Chloe _, 8 a.m.s. Tomorrow's Saturday. Thought college be fun, but nope. Jealous you escaped the grind early. Her message had a short video. Roommates on phones or shows. Maya, gaming relaxed. Last seconds, Chloe pouting cutely. 1. Bored? Appreciate your parents' sacrifice for school. 2. Your bed's tucked away. No one notices. Bored? Go for it. 3. Want to hang tomorrow? My treat. That place near our last spot. Famous one. 1 and 2 out. 3 normal, but Leo tensed. Sending Mint, asking her out. Why nervous? Shut in isolation, fearing rejection. Screw nerves. Recalling nearly missing her last time, he typed excited yet anxious. Want to hang tomorrow? My treat. That place near our last spot. Famous one. Heart-pounding post send. First time asking a girl out. Which she? Calming. Odd seemed good. Roommates around. Yet she texted him. Share video. Clear signal. She wanted chat connection. Mentioning Saturday, boredom hinted at wanting out. Her initiating screamed, take me. Minutes no reply. Disappointment hit. Bathroom? Take out. Fragile introverts, self-soothe, prepping excuses for rejection. Still nothing. He checked chat. Noticed something fun. Top bar flickered every few seconds. Typing. Leo blinked, realizing. She wasn't busy, just pondering his invite. Made sense. Known 2 days, asking out fast. She'd hesitate. Not casual type. High looks, reserved, tough to ask out quick. Rushed it. Reviewing, he smiled resigned, ready for no. Future chances, no rush with girls. If she agreed instantly, it'd feel off like one-shotting a boss in a game. No satisfaction. Chasing girls is an art. He mused at the typing indicator. Finally, ding, her reply. Chloe I know under 8 a.m.s. Sure, but no treat. Let's split. Feels weird spending your money so soon. Offline mode, deal. Tomorrow 6 p.m. Wait at last bus stop. She sent a cat emoji. Yup. Sometimes one-shotting the boss ain't bad. Leo pocketed his phone thrilled. Hyped for the date. Bro, who you romancing online? Sophie grinned, noticing. Last scam, not enough. His first love, online meetup. She ate, then shopped him dry. Nearly $2,000, no hand-holding. Blocked him home. Moped half a year, posting some dramatic vow online. This is the last time. If I ever trust a woman again, I'm a dog. Leo smiled without answering. Mind your business, eat. Grinning like a perv. Riley sneered. Waste cash simping, give it to me. Find boyfriends to bug. Leave me alone. Leo's smile dropped, pleading at the snarky duo. When can we skip to? Bro, you don't get him? Next morning, Leo woke on his rental sofa. Normally impossible this early, but post-serum, a bio clock kicked in. 7 a.m. sharp. Wide awake, no fatigue. After washing, he peeked in the bedroom at the sisters. In dim light, on the soft bed, barely fitting two, they hugged in pajamas, mumbling dreams. Last night, no cab home or hotel far, so they bought sleepwear, crashed in his tiny place. Opposites. Sophie curled sideways into Riley, smiling contentedly. Riley sprawled, legs octopusing Sophie, murmuring. Her bowl pose exposed pale skin patches. Like any brother, Leo felt zero lust. He shook his head, smiling, tucked him in, pinched Riley's fair cheek. Pig sleeper. Bro, Riley murmured, smiling deeper, hugging Sophie tighter. Leo paused, heartwarming, griping. Brat. Only in dreams, huh? Bought breakfast for 3 downstairs, woke them. They dazed 10 minutes, reluctantly washed, and ate. Done, he walked them out home. They whined for a day out, but with Chloe date afternoon, no way, called an Uber. Leo. A pigtail girl ran over, arms up. Maddie, with Isabel carrying grocery bags, fresh from the store. Hey, who's little sis? Leo grinned, scooping her up, bouncing. Heavy, almost holiday time. Sell you for candy. Not heavy. She giggled, chubby arms hugging his neck tight. Riley eyed them sourly, hesitating, finally huffing faintly. Creepy lolicon. Isabel meant to greet, but noticed Leo's big change. Hard to pinpoint, but vibes shifted. And the two pretty girls. Tension hit, but she smiled, probing. Leo, these two? My sisters. Leo introduced briefly, then to them. My landlady, Isabel. Riley glanced dismissively, silent. Hi, Isabel. Sophie beamed. Bro said his landlady's gorgeous. Didn't believe till now. You are. Sophie was that other people's kid. Smart, pretty, polite. Everyone loved her. Oh, hardly. Isabel waved, blushing. Pleased, then asked curiously. So early, where to? They chatted minutes. Isabel lifted bags. Gotta go. Next visit, eat at my place. Sure. Sophie nodded warmly. Riley kept eyeing Leo and the kid, hesitating disdainfully. Oh, Leo. Isabel told him, crouching with the girl. My computer's glitchy. Fix it later? He stood. No prob. Send them off, then over. Great. Stay for lunch too. She hefted bags. Bought extra. Cool. Leo didn't refuse. Date later afternoon. Bro, landlady's into you. Eyes pulling strings. After Isabel left, Sophie teased slyly. Moved in days, already inviting meals. Sharp kid, spotted subtleties better than adults. Nah, she's a billionaire, owns the complex. Leo denied. Think she'd want to shut in like me. Sophie pondered seriously. Yeah, true, with that cash, no otaku. Leo, bro, if she's really interested, would you? Sophie half-joked. Guy's dream sugar mama. Bit older, but hot. Soft life, skip decades. Why not? Money's hard. Nod once, I'm at her feet. Leo shrugged openly, joking. Knees got gold, time to cash. No steel wools meaning? Endurance, get it? Ah, shameless. Sophie punch him laughing. Nah, you like the kid, not her. Riley snipe. One Leo, and you're mush, gross. Riley, what's your deal? Jealous of a kid? Leo laughed annoyed. You're my sis, call me bro, no shame. Drop dead, geezer. Riley flushed, lost for retort. Frustrated, she kicked. He dodged, grinning. Safe trip, don't bug me unless needed. Ubered them off, then to Isabel's, ringing bell. Leo. Maddie opened, arms up, jumping for a hug. Mom. Leo scooped her one-armed, pinching her cheek. Cooking. She giggled, showing baby teeth. Perfect timing. Isabel emerged with the last dish, beaming. Food's ready, wash up, eat. Computer later. She wore a white sheer dress, skin peeking through, full bust straining the loose fabric. Hot day plus kitchen work left her neck sweaty, strands stuck to forehead and neck, exuding allure. Her flushed, disheveled, sweaty look quickened pulses. Thanks for the meal. Leo nodded, smiling, washed, joined at table. Maddie's stool sat beside him. Ding. Isabel Vance's affinity for you increased by 10 points, now at 60. Keep it up. System guided, Leo boosted her another 10. Table vibe, family-like. Isabel loved the fullness. Post-meal, they washed dishes. Maddie sofa watched cartoons, rolling laughing at funny bits. Isabel cherished the homey feel. A man in the house grounded her. Leo, you're 24, right? Time for a girlfriend. Washing, Isabel leaned closer than last. Curious, what type do you like? 1. Older girls, gentle, mature, homemakers like you. 2. Sassy ones, sassier the better, with killer looks and figure. 3. Big waves, 2 things, chesty and wild. Guess my personality's not girl magnet. Leo replied sheepishly. I like older, gentle, mature, homemakers like you. Me? Hardly that great. Isabel smiled humbly, visibly pleased at his directness. They chatted awkwardly, washing. Whether big motions or hints, her elbow brushed his abs occasionally. Each glance, she looked down, smiling shyly. Done. She led a bedroom for computer. Before entering, she told the kid nervously. Maddie, Leo, and I fixing computer. Be good. Got it. Eyes glued to screen. Might not be the computer getting fixed. Recalling elbow brushes, Leo swallowed hotly. If she pounced, resist? Surrender? Or strike? Then their eyes met, her shy, expectant. Both looked away mutually. Air turned charged, cartoon blared. Big Bear, Baldy's chopping trees. Leo coughed first, breaking it. Which room? This one. Isabel hurried, opening bedroom, sitting at desktop. Newish computer, and used lately. Want a movie, but prompts download. I'm tech dumb, scared to mess up, check. She booted, open site, click play, flash download pop-up. Common fix, download it. Leo meant to say, but options appeared. 1. Play dumb, hold her hand on mouse, build tension, close distance. 2. Tell her download the pop-up for video. 3. Download, tease what adult film she likes. Her affinity high enough for adult play. Option 3 might get flirty hints. On others, she'd have pounced entering. Basically, options tested pushing boundaries as a guy. Or chicken out with 2. Let me see. Leo swallowed, nervously stepped behind. Hesitated, then bent, gripping her mouse hand. Both trembled instantly. A young man's strong presence, so close. Isabel's heart raced, blush deepening, unable to look up. Never imagined, in her room with daughter cartoon watching outside, a guy this intimate behind her. Known days, yet she brought him here. Crazy. She wanted to pull away, fearing offense or misunderstanding. Deep down, she craved his bold moves, even bolder. So she stared dumbly at the cursor, ignoring advances. Her eyes sneaked glances at this fumbling big boy. His warm palms stirred her long, lonely heart. Reckless desire spread, eyes flickering with want. First time holding a woman's hand, this way, with his new landlady, known mere days. Unlike Imagine Girl hands, hers soft, warm, like fine jade. Leo, tense and thrilled, just held, dragging mouse randomly. 1. Lift her gently to bed, kiss from above. 2. Pin her at window, lift skirt, treat gently. 3. Lift her, sit in chair, place her facing on lap, tease face to face. Damn, system's thirstier than me. Leo flushed inwardly. Clear now. Advance, she'd comply, or no such wild options. Isabel. Leo released her hand, trembling fingers slipping her dress strap down, bearing pale skin and rounded purple bra. Leo. Throughout, no resistance, occasional needy shy glances. Her brows mixed mature charm with faint inexperience. Only 12 encounters, traditional woman, untouched years. Screw it, go. Mind blanking to primal urge. He roughly lifted her. They tumbled on his soft bed. Pinning her arms, he loomed over the blushing matron, eyes burning eagerly. Leo, Maddie's outside. As he tugged the other strap, she clutched exposed skin, averting shyly, yielding. Not rejection, reminder. Kid there, keep quiet. Isabel, Mom phone. Knob turned, door pushed. Maddie stood with ringing phone, blankly staring at bed duo. Mom? What are you and Leo doing? Her innocent voice doused their fire. And nothing, give it. Isabel, like caught cheating, fixed dress hastily, smooth hair, flushed, patted Leo's arm. Get off quick. Leo leaped down, back to kid, adjusting. Leo, what were you doing with Mom? Maddie asked, innocently upturned. Playing? I want to play. Leo rubbed her head awkwardly, lost for words. Isabel giggled at his embarrassment, glaring playfully, then to kid. Maddie, grab bag, piano lesson time. Kid left. Duo eyed each other knowingly, averting quick. Isabel replayed the scene incredulously in her mind. Without interruption, would she have gone all in with this new guy? She liked his kind warmth, great with Maddie. But days known, too rushed, date a while first. Why agree? So lonely? Silence. Leo pivoted. What does Maddie study? Piano. Isabel replied flatly. Air awkward. Isabel, I think. Leo, you go ahead. Isabel cut in, fearing pleased to stay, she might waver. Tense, she said. Gotta drop Maddie off. 1 puzzle, why? Drop her, come back, continue. 2. Eager confess. Isabel, I like you. Want to be together. Money aside, mainly care for Maddie with you. 3. Casual bye, sure, heading out. Call anytime for help. Yeah, no issue, heading out. Call anytime for help. Leo saw she wanted distance. Plus kid involved, she wouldn't ignore. He left bedroom decisively. The door shut, echoed. Isabel hugged her knees on the bed, dazed. Known him just a few days. I'm insane. Thinking about what almost happened, she buried her burning cheeks in her knees, completely mortified. Home a while, Leo's heated excitement lingered. Staring at the hand that slipped her strap, bedroom scene replayed, firing him up. No auto extinguisher. He sighed, what's this iron rod for? Virgin, first near miss, with a MILF no less. Real thrills beat solo or fanfic fantasies. More thoughts, more restless, unreleased tension irritated. Cold shower calmed him. Till after 5 p.m., Chloe texted. Chloe enters her note under her 8 a.m.s. Not busy today, probing if he remembered, or free for meetup. Post-system days, he caught hints. Offline mode. Nah. Pick you up at school? Chloe enters a note under her 8 a.m.s. No need. Close. Uber it. Offline mode. Cool. Text went on route. Chloe no 8 a.m.s. Yup. Brief chat. He closed. Meanwhile, Portland State girls' dorm. Chloe tossed phone thrilled, raiding closet. Tapping toes, pondering first date outfit from the array. Like many single co-eds, college meant knowledge, degree, plus dream boyfriend, sweet romance. Post-class strolls, vacation dates, soaking youthful bliss. Funny, her meet wasn't campus guy but chestnut stand alum. Life's blind box chocolate. Next flavor unknown. He Chloe, take me. Maya teased at fretting Chloe. Want to see what charms our PSU beauty queen. Just friends, simple dinner. Chloe muttered blushing, outfit picked. Saturday, roommates home. Only Maya and Chloe. Lazy for bathroom. She changed openly, bearing envy-worthy figure. Like Isabel, unaware. Known days, one street meet. Inexperienced girls, romanticized futures. Pure campus beauties especially. Guy catches eye, gains favor. IQ/EQ dips. Why mismatch couples? Average/ugly guys with stunners. They dared probe girls' thoughts. No self-doubt hiding, pursued boldly. High-spec girls fuel drive. Sure, singles had lists. Car, house, height, family, sibs, even zodiac compatibility, luck impact. Leo's okay looks, otaku vibe, deductions for Chloe. But once interested, lists vanished, flaws accepted. She liked his humor. Chat's fun. Flaws faded. Girls, quirky thinkers. Who'd believe Chloe? Maya grinned slyly, then ogled Chloe's fair skin, slim form and white stockings, groping feet like a creep. TSK, these legs daze me, jealous of him. Chloe flushed, pushing her friend's hands. Leaving dressed, Maya reminded. If not back tonight, tell him bring protection. No early godmom duty. Game on. Chloe spat, blushing, slamming door. Around 6 p.m., Chloe arrived at last bus stop as agreed. Rush hour crowd. Dressed up, she drew eyes. Tall, curvy, short skirt over white stocking legs, long and even. Above, absolute territory. Pale thighs glowing against stockings. A few college guys who had been wandering over to the food truck pod in search of dinner completely missed their bus, mesmerized by the sight of Chloe Miller. They stood frozen on the sidewalk, a fierce internal debate raging over whether they should try to get her number. When Chloe's gaze swept over them, each of them felt the distinct, heart-stopping illusion that this beautiful girl was secretly checking them out, which dramatically boosted their courage. In reality, Chloe was just looking for someone. Sorry, I'm late. A familiar voice came from behind her. Chloe's heart skipped a beat, and she quickly turned to greet him. But when she saw the handsome, vaguely familiar guy standing there, she froze, completely thrown. It took her a moment to stammer out a few words. I'm sorry, but are you? It's me, Leo, he said with a helpless laugh. It's only been a few days. You already forgot me. You're Leo? Chloe struggled to connect the confident, bright-eyed guy in front of her with the withdrawn nerd in glasses she'd met before. Leo thought for a second, then cupped his hands around his eyes like binoculars. Does this help you see it? You. Without your glasses, I didn't even recognize you, Chloe said, a relieved smile finally breaking across her face. She asked curiously, is it okay for you to not wear them? Leo nodded. My prescription isn't that bad. It doesn't really matter if I wear them or not. Oh, I see. Chloe's voice was tinged with delight. Her eyes, though outwardly calm and polite, were excitedly taking in the transformed Leo Shepherd. It was the same face, but without the glasses, it was natural she wouldn't recognize him at first glance, especially since this was only their second time meeting. The biggest difference was his entire vibe. The first time they met, Chloe could clearly sense that nervous, introverted homebody energy radiating from him. But now that anxious, socially awkward aura was completely gone. In its place was a vibrant, sunny, and outgoing young man. Could taking off a pair of glasses really make that much of a difference? The contrast was staggering. You look really handsome without glasses, Chloe couldn't help but say. If Leo had previously attracted her with his witty conversation but lost points for his socially awkward nerdiness, the current version of him had no drawbacks. In every way, he perfectly matched her ideal for a partner. This was just reality. For anyone, regardless of gender or how far along a relationship was, there's always a hope that the person they care about will evolve into their most perfect version. A boyfriend hopes his girlfriend could have a slightly better figure, be a little more beautiful, someone he'd be proud to show off. Why would a girlfriend be any different? No girl wants to take a socially anxious, introverted boyfriend out on the town. 1. Compliment her beauty, ask about her height, and no matter what she says, casually mention that she must have long legs. 2. You're pretty too, but your chest isn't very big. I suggest eating more papaya. 3. Thanks, you look hot too, especially in those thigh highs. So, can we skip you going back to the dorm tonight? I want to eat some ice cream. You're really pretty too, Leo said after a moment, glancing at Chloe with genuine curiosity. And you seem really tall. Are you like 5'7"? No way, I'm not that tall, Chloe said, shaking her head, a little embarrassed. I'm only around 5'5". Ha, well, it must be because your legs are so long, Leo praised her casually, gesturing with his hand. I feel like you almost come up to my chest. Ha, not that tall. You're over 6 feet, Chloe said, bouncing slightly on her white stocking calves. She smiled shyly, but she looked genuinely happy. Ding. Chloe Miller's affinity has increased by 2 points. Current affinity, 11. Please continue your efforts. Leo finally understood why the system had told him to be casual. A casual compliment felt like the most sincere kind. All right, let's go. Time to get some food, Leo said, pointing toward the food truck pod. There's a historic district over there with a street fair tonight. It's supposed to be really lively. We can check it out after we eat. It was Saturday, and Chloe was out for the evening. As long as she wasn't planning on staying out all night, getting back a little late was fine. There was no way Leo was going to let an opportunity this good end with a simple goodbye after dinner. More importantly, if a girl was willing to go out with you at night, it meant she was interested. The evening atmosphere was more intimate, and women tended to be more emotionally open and easily moved at night. With a guy she was interested in by her side, most girls couldn't help but reveal more of their inner selves, their truest selves. This was why guys who confessed their feelings at night were generally more successful than those who did it during the day. Of course, there was always the risk of a tragic ending. A successful nighttime confession followed by a morning text that read, "I thought about it, and I don't think we're a good match." "Okay," Chloe said with a sweet smile. She fell into step beside Leo, and they walked toward the food trucks, laughing and talking, leaving a few broken-hearted college guys in their wake. Leo took Chloe to a well-known restaurant famous for its roast duck. After they ordered, with the system's help, Leo easily broke the ice. The topics the system suggested were mostly things Chloe was interested in: campus life, celebrity gossip, all sorts of horror movies. Right now, for instance, Leo casually brought up a story about his roommate. Chloe immediately picked up the thread and launched into a long, animated story, vividly describing the personalities and little quirks of her own roommates. Her desire to share was palpable. Honestly, when a girl doesn't want to talk to you, it's usually because you haven't hit on a topic she likes, or your conversation skills are so stiff and awkward that it just annoys her. Fortunately for Leo, he was using a cheat code. Otherwise, forget conversation. He wouldn't have even managed to ask the PSU campus crush out for duck. With the system's assistance, Leo's own mindset was undergoing a massive change, and his conversational skills were improving dramatically. Sometimes, he could even keep the conversation flowing smoothly without a prompt from the system. After all, the system was giving him step-by-step instructions. If he still acted like a timid, withdrawn introvert around women after all this, he really would be a lost cause. Just then, a waitress brought over the steaming, chili oil-glistening roast duck and some side dishes. As the two waitresses set the table, Leo and Chloe were still deep in conversation, completely oblivious to the knowing, ant-like smiles on the servers' faces. Chloe was naturally a lively and fun-loving girl. It was just that, on a first meeting with a guy, she, like most girls, put on a front of quiet composure. She never expected that after less than an hour of talking, her true self would be completely exposed. So after setting down the last dish, one of the waitresses beamed at the chatty young couple. "You two take your time with the romance, but the duck is best when it's hot." Chloe, who had been beaming with happiness, blushed crimson at the waitress's endlessly suggestive misunderstanding. She cleared her throat, lowered her head, and took tiny bites of the chili oil-covered duck, sneaking glances at Leo to gauge his reaction. Leo coughed awkwardly, unsure what to say. Following the system's prompt, he simply placed a piece of duck on Chloe's plate. Chloe just kept nodding and saying, "Thank you," stuffing the pieces Leo gave her in her mouth until her fair cheeks were puffed out. The once lively pair fell strangely silent, and the noisy chatter of the other diners suddenly became clear. But the atmosphere wasn't awkward. Instead, there was a kind of unspoken, flirtatious energy between them. To put it plainly, she knew what he was after, and he knew she was just playing coy. In a situation like this, it was best to let things develop naturally until they reached their logical conclusion. But the waitress's comment had just burst that delicate bubble. And how could that not be awkward? After dinner, Leo paid the bill and took Chloe to the nearby street fair. Once they left the restaurant, the atmosphere between them inexplicably returned to normal, and they were back to chatting and laughing animatedly. When they arrived at the historic district, the street fair was just kicking off, with dazzling lights everywhere. Colorful lanterns hung on both sides of the street, each one emitting a unique glow, making it feel as if they had stepped into a dream world. The crowded streets pulsed with endless noise and energy as the two of them weaved through the bustling throngs, talking and laughing. Every storefront glittered with multicolored lights, their signs shimmering and dancing, beckoning to passersby. Chloe stayed close to Leo, her heart full of joy as she took in the shops lining the street, occasionally stopping to gaze for a moment. The streets were filled with the clang of gongs and drums, with performances of street magic, acrobatics, and live bands. Such a grand event naturally attracted a number of streamers. They carried their streaming rigs, shouting into their phones for their followers to show some love. The tourists cheered, their applause constant. The children were even more ecstatic, running back and forth through the street, their laughter echoing through the air. Besides the performances, the street fair also had a lot of traditional food stalls. Leo bought Chloe a rabbit-shaped piece of cotton candy, which she ate as they walked. Chloe loved this place. The smile hadn't left her face since they arrived. Every so often, she'd hand the cotton candy to Leo so she could pull out her phone and snap a flurry of pictures. Ding! Chloe Miller's affinity has increased by 6 points. Current affinity, 17. Please continue your efforts. So this is what it feels like to be a boyfriend, Leo thought, listening to the system's notification. He glanced down at the half-eaten cotton candy rabbit in his hand, then over at Chloe, who was excitedly taking pictures of a band on a small stage. A contented smile spread across his face. Just then, a small child bumped into Chloe in the crowd. She stumbled, nearly dropping her phone. The little brat didn't seem to care at all, just glanced at her curiously, made a face, and then skipped away. That scared me. I almost dropped my phone. Chloe pouted, watching the kid disappear into the crowd. 1. Go after the little brat, give him a slap, and demand he apologize to Chloe, or you'll tell his parents. 2. Admonish Chloe, telling her to stand further back so she doesn't get in the way of the performers. 3. Take Chloe's hand and gently tell her it's crowded, suggesting you go for a walk by the river instead. Handsome guys get girlfriends, ugly guys get girlfriends, only timid guys don't deserve to have a girlfriend. Ever since meeting Chloe, Leo had firmly committed that thought to memory. Hey, it's getting crowded here. Without overthinking it, Leo stepped forward and took Chloe's soft, fair hand in his. He avoided her gaze and said, Let's go for a walk by the river instead. There's a spot up ahead called Cathedral Point. It's pretty nice. Even with the system's help, actively taking a girl's hand in public still made Leo nervous. He worried that his bold move might annoy Chloe. They hadn't even officially defined their relationship, and here he was, holding her hand. Would it make her think he was too forward? What if she said it was too fast, that she wasn't ready, and pulled her hand away? Wouldn't that be mortifying? While Leo's mind was racing, Chloe looked down at her hand, held gently but firmly in his. The suddenness of it caught her off guard, and all her earlier liveliness vanished. She looked up at him shyly, her face flushing slightly. She opened her mouth as if to say something, but after a moment's hesitation, she simply squeaked out a barely audible, okay. Hearing her agreement, an excited grin broke out on Leo's face. Great, let's go. Portland was a river city. Among the tourist spots the locals took pride in, besides some historic landmarks, were the popular riverfronts. Cathedral Point was in a more secluded area, not a major highlight in Portland's travel guides. The whole area featured only one large, abstract sculpture. The rest was just a long stretch of river walk in a vast, dark water. It was mostly a spot for people living nearby to take a stroll in their free time. Tourists rarely bothered with this inconspicuous little park. Leo held Chloe's hand as they walked along the cobblestone path. Beside them was the expansive river, with a few scattered people walking along the bank. The wind coming off the water tonight was strong, but they were both dressed warmly enough that it didn't matter. Along the way, Chloe didn't say much. She would occasionally look up at Leo, then glance down at their intertwined hands, her face blushing, her thoughts a mystery. Chloe had grown up inland and rarely got to see large bodies of water. Normally, she would have already kicked off her shoes and run down to the water's edge, splashing around and taking pictures. She was that kind of enthusiastic, energetic girl. But right now, her hand was held in his. Experiencing this kind of physical contact for the first time, Chloe felt a mixture of surprise and a hopeful anticipation for romance. Just then, the system's options popped up again. 1. Smile and tease her. Didn't you say you've never really seen a big riverfront like this? What do you think? Want to go walk down by the water? 2. Wrap your arm around her waist and say longingly, It's getting late, let's get a room. I want to eat ice cream. And I'll take you back to campus tomorrow. 3. Ask with concern, Why are you so quiet? Do you want to go back to the dorm? I could take you back. So, didn't you say you haven't really spent much time by a river like this? Leo squeezed Chloe's hand a little tighter. What do you think? Want to go walk on the path down there? Yeah, Chloe nodded eagerly, and the two of them made their way down to the paved trail that ran along the water's edge. Since Chloe was wearing flats and warm white stockings, they just walked along the edge of the embankment. So, Leo, what do you do now? Chloe asked suddenly, her fingers quietly tightening their grip on his warm hand. Feeling her soft fingers press against his palm, Leo was ecstatic. A sense of accomplishment he couldn't quite describe washed over him, and he almost stumbled over his words. You might laugh, but I'm writing a novel from home. Really? What genre do you write? Chloe knew about web fiction. She sometimes read romance stories on Kindle Unlimited to pass the time. Unlike his previous date, Chloe didn't ask about his salary. Instead, she asked about what he wrote. After all, one was looking for a sugar daddy, and the other was looking for a sweet romance. Ahem, it's progression fantasy. Lots of fighting and stuff. Not really something you girls would like. I'm up to over 1 million words now. That's still great. At least it's a job you love, Chloe said with a completely unbothered smile. I can't believe you're a real author. Haha, real author is a stretch. Leo handed the half-eaten cotton candy back to Chloe. It just pays the bills. I don't even know if I'll keep doing it in the future. They walked along the riverfront, the wind in their hair, leaving a trail of faint footprints on the damp pavement. With the system's help, their conversation flowed effortlessly from their lives at school to their plans for the future, to their roommates. They talked about whatever came to mind, with no particular rhyme or reason. Most couples are like this at the beginning. As long as they have each other, even just sitting together in silence can make their feelings grow stronger. The shimmering surface of the water reflected the bright moonlight, as well as the silhouettes of the two of them, laughing and talking. Ding! Chloe Miller's affinity has increased by 5 points. Current affinity, 22. Please continue your efforts. Girls really are more emotional at night, Leo thought. Just a few minutes of conversation, and Chloe's affinity had jumped by 5 whole points. He could also feel her drawing closer and closer to him. When she got excited about something they were talking about, she'd lean against his shoulder without thinking, just like a cute, playful girlfriend. Only after a moment would she realize and shyly pull away, though her clear eyes never stopped reflecting his image. He didn't know how much time had passed, but they finally stopped in front of a cluster of large, decorative rocks. It's a dead end, Chloe said, looking at the dark rocks in front of them, a clear note of disappointment in her voice. Leo looked back in surprise at where they had started. We walked that far. Hee, time flies when you're talking. Yeah, it does. They both laughed softly, looking at each other's faces, now so close, and fell silent once more. Just then, the system's options appeared. 1. Wrap your arm around her slender waist, pin her against the rocks, and kiss her passionately. 2. Ask expectantly. There's no one around, can I touch your feet in those cute stockings? 3. Caress her face, gaze deeply in her eyes, and kiss her gently. Should I just take her home? A war raged in Leo's mind. To be honest, he didn't want to let her go just yet. But besides option 2, weren't the other two a little too much? He had only known her for a few days, and this was their second time meeting. If he just kissed her, would she slap him? Leo suddenly spoke. Chloe jumped. What is it? And nothing. Oh. They looked at each other, then shyly looked away, though their hands were still clasped together. All around them, it was quiet. The sound of the river lapping against the rocks was especially crisp. The leaves of the ginkgo trees planted in the park rustled softly in the river breeze. Screw being timid. There's nothing to be afraid of. Leo cheered himself on internally. He let go of Chloe's slightly sweaty hand and slowly raised his own, moving it toward her delicate, fair cheek. The fact that the system gave him 2 intimate options meant that, deep down, Chloe would be receptive to him kissing her here. He also made a mental note. If she showed any sign of reluctance, he would immediately abort the mission and make up some excuse. He wasn't about to scare away the elf princess he'd finally found with a reckless move. Under Chloe's somewhat dazed gaze, Leo's hand slowly came to rest on her flawless cheek, gently caressing it. Just as he imagined, a girl's skin was soft and smooth, but the temperature was rapidly rising. The moment his fingers touched her cheek, she trembled slightly, as if she had guessed what he was about to do. Right now, Chloe really wanted to ask him, what are we? But for some reason, in this quiet, secluded place, she didn't want to break the romantic atmosphere. She just pursed her lips and looked up at Leo. She's not objecting. Which means, as Chloe watched, Leo slowly leaned in, their faces drawing closer and closer. He could even smell the sweetness on her lips, the lingering scent of the cotton candy he'd bought her earlier. He wondered if it would taste even sweeter. Thump, thump. Feeling the warmth of Leo's fingers and seeing his face so close, Chloe's heart pounded in her chest. Her lips trembled slightly, and her hands clenched the hem of her skirt. Soon, the tip of Leo's nose brushed against hers, and his lips pressed against her soft ones. The first sensation was softness with a hint of sweetness. He could clearly hear her breathing grow heavier. Since this was his first kiss, Leo had no experience. He could only press his lips against hers clumsily. If he wasn't so worried about her rejecting him, he would have loved to try what he'd seen in the movies and slip his tongue inside. After a few minutes of just this, Leo slowly pulled back from her now burning cheek and looked in disbelief at Chloe's dazed and surprised face. He couldn't believe it. He had known Chloe for less than a week, and on their very first real date, he had somehow gotten this elf princess's first kiss. Chloe seemed to snap back to reality. She turned away in embarrassment, covering her bright red face with her hands, and mumbled to herself in disbelief. Chloe, what is wrong with you? You've only known him for a few days, and that was your first kiss. In the quiet of the night, in this serene and elegant setting, Two young people at the dawn of love were both flustered, their hearts racing with a sweet confusion. After they left the riverfront, it was as if their memories had been wiped clean. By mutual, unspoken agreement, they both forgot the intimate kiss that had just happened. They continued their walk along the cobblestone path, still hand in hand. It wasn't until around 10 o'clock, when they had explored the entire area and the lively street fair was winding down, that Leo reluctantly put Chloe in an Uber. Damn, is this what falling in love feels like? Back home, Leo lay on his small bed, touching his own lips, and couldn't help but let out a foolish grin. This feels pretty good. His only regret was that, with such a perfect opportunity by the river, he hadn't used his tongue. Leo felt that using your tongue was what made it a real kiss. But for a socially awkward homebody, just daring to kiss Chloe was a huge act of bravery. As for the tongue part, he just didn't have the nerve yet. He was mainly worried about how Chloe would react, especially since this was their first real date. Even now, Leo was still on edge. The lingering feeling of pressure was no less intense than clutching a 1v5 in a video game. But he wasn't discouraged. It didn't happen this time, but at least it served as a heads up for Chloe. The next time he asked her out and kissed her, she would probably be more prepared, and it wouldn't be awkward for either of them. Tomorrow was Sunday, and Chloe had to go home to see her parents. They made a plan. If they were both free next Saturday, they could hang out again. Thinking about it, Leo couldn't help but grin, already looking forward to next weekend. Just then, a text from Chloe came through. Chloe, made it back to the dorm. I had a really fun time tonight. Offline mode, get some rest. I'll take you out again next Saturday. Chloe _no_ 8 AMs. Okay. Also, let me send you my half for tonight. Chloe sent him a Venmo request for $20, which even included her share of the $3 cotton candy. In the past, Leo might have thought she was trying to end things, finding any excuse to give him money to create distance. But now, he saw it as a sign that Chloe was a genuinely good person, at least in terms of character. Offline mode, don't worry about it. It was only like $1.40. Chloe _no_ 8 AMs. No, you have to take it. We've only just met. I can't let you pay for everything. Take it. Angry cat. GIF. Offline mode. How about this? This one was on me, and you can get the next one. No need to make a big deal over $40. Doggo _ smirk. JPG. She was silent for a moment before replying. Chloe _no_ 8 AMs. Okay. Next time, I'm treating you to seafood. They texted a little more. When she reached her dorm building, Chloe put her phone away and walked to her room with a happy smile. She was extremely satisfied with how the date had gone, her steps light and cheerful. When she got back to her dorm, most of her roommates were already asleep. Only her best friend, Maya Pierce, was curled up under her comforter, engrossed in her phone. Well, look what the cat dragged in, Maya whispered playfully as she heard the door open, poking her head out with a mischievous grin. I was starting to think you weren't coming back tonight. It's so late. If I didn't come back, where'd I sleep? Under a bridge? Chloe, her heart still fluttering, dodged Maya's all-knowing smirk. She got changed and went into the bathroom to wash up. After her shower, Chloe slipped into bed, hugging her plush Pikachu toy. As she replayed the memories of her walk by the river with Leo, it felt like a fleeting, beautiful dream. Their relationship was moving so fast. They had known each other for less than 4 days, and they were already close enough to hold hands and kiss by the river. More importantly, that had been her first kiss. Is this moving too fast? I've only known him for a few days. Chloe poked her head out from under the covers, looking up at Maya, who was still gaming in her bunk, a thoughtful expression on her face. She considered talking it over with her friend, who had far more experience with guys. But this kind of thing happens, right? And, thinking about the kiss with Leo, Chloe's face grew warm. She bit her lip shyly, her fair cheeks flushing a deep red, and the chest beneath her pink nightgown rose and fell. A second later, a sweet, silly grin spread across her lips, growing wider and wider. Finally, as if remembering something deeply embarrassing, she pulled the covers over her head, burying her hot face in the fluffy Pikachu. She tossed and turned in her bed, unable to fall asleep, a foolish, irrepressible smile still playing on her lips. Then her expression would turn serious, as if she were wrestling with something irresistible. I can't believe it actually worked out. Maya propped her chin on her hand, watching Chloe roll around in her bed. She shook her head and sighed. Looks like I'll be eating a lot of third-wheel dust in the coming days. The days that followed were just as Maya had predicted. Whenever Chloe had a spare moment, she and Leo were glued to their phones, texting constantly. At first, Chloe was a bit self-conscious around her roommates, too shy to chat openly with him. But as time went on, she threw caution to the wind. They went from typing to sending voice messages, and their relationship heated up rapidly. The lovey-dovey sounds coming from her corner of the room drove her roommates crazy. Every time they saw Chloe lying on her bed, swinging her feet and chatting with Leo, her roommates were a mix of envious and inexplicably anxious. All of them, including the notorious player Maya Pierce, were single. What they wouldn't give to find a guy and have a sweet college romance of their own. Sometimes, even during class, Chloe would sneak out her phone to text Leo. Their phone calls got longer and longer, sometimes stretching through the entire night. She even burned out a portable charger. It was now crystal clear to everyone in the dorm. The campus crush of Portland State University, the dream girl of countless guys, was officially in a relationship. Except for Maya. However, no one knew that Chloe's boyfriend wasn't a student at PSU. Would you believe she met him while buying candied nuts? Her roommates had promised to keep it a secret and not spread the news that she was dating Leo. Who would have thought that the very next day, the news that Chloe was dating a guy from off-campus will be the top post on the PSU student subreddit? As the reigning queen of PSU's unofficial beauty rankings and the dream girl for countless guys, Chloe's admirers were consumed with envy and jealousy when they saw the post. They all started trying to find out who this mysterious off-campus boyfriend was. At first, Chloe was worried the post might cause some kind of uproar. Besides, she had never asked for the campus crush title. The guys had just given it to her without her knowledge. But later, she came to terms with it. She wasn't some famous celebrity or a streamer. Why should she care what other people thought about her having a normal relationship? Even a campus crush is allowed to fall in love, right? The weather in Portland had been mild for the past few days. The sun hung peacefully in the sky, casting down warm rays, while the buzz of cicadas filled the trees, adding a layer of irritable noise to the hot afternoon. On Thursday afternoon, Leo turned on his computer, ready to play a couple of games, when a message from Chloe popped up. No wonder people say once you're in a relationship, you can forget about gaming. It's actually true. Leo closed the game client with a wry smile and opened his chat with Chloe. The next second, his blood rushed, and he sat bolt upright. Chloe had sent him a few selfies, most of which were close-ups of her legs and white thigh-highs. Her legs were genuinely incredible, especially in the white stockings. They looked so soft and plush like a cat's paws, making you want to take a bite. On this hot summer day, staring at these pristine white popsicles, Leo felt his mouth go dry. But he quickly calmed down. Their relationship was good, but not so good that she'd be sending him such intimate photos. Chloe wasn't the type to flirt so provocatively. He guessed she probably wanted him to rate the photos. But her next message threw him for a loop. Leo, do you think it's weird for me to dress like this? This was a trick question, one Leo couldn't afford to get wrong. Not weird at all, why? What's up? Then why are people saying I dress slutty? Huh? Who said that? The people on the school subreddit. They're all saying I dress trashy, that I don't look like a college student. But so many girls in my class dress like this. 1. I can't tell from just these few pictures. Send a few more. 2. Don't be silly. They're calling you slutty because they're jealous. If I had your body, I'd walk around naked. 3. It is pretty slutty. You got me hard. Leo didn't bother typing. He just called her directly. For the past 2 days, Chloe had been getting torn apart on the subreddit. She hadn't been that well known at PSU before. The Campus Crush title had mostly circulated among the freshmen. But after the post about her possibly dating someone went viral, the comment section had inexplicably filled with nasty, passive-aggressive remarks, all attacking her daily outfits as being inappropriate for a college student. Chloe was furious but didn't know how to fight back. She could only sulk, and she'd barely had an appetite for 2 days. Not even her roommates or her best friend could console her. Now, Chloe quickly answered the call, but her voice was dejected. It was clear the comments had gotten to her. Don't be silly. What's the big deal? Leo said with a light-hearted laugh. I guarantee you most of the people calling you slutty are other girls. That's the only reason a girl calls another girl that, because she's jealous. Chloe paused, feeling a little better, but she was still fuming. But the things they're saying are so mean. And I checked, a lot of the girls flaming me are upperclassmen. Who cares if they're upperclassmen or not? So what if it's slutty? Leo chuckled. If they're getting so worked up about it, it just means they're jealous of your figure. If I had a body like yours, I'd walk around naked just to make them praise me. Ha ha, you're such a pervert. Chloe, lying on her bed, laughed so hard that her feet, dangling off the end, started swinging back and forth. In just a few minutes, their conversation had shifted to their plans for Saturday. Over the past few days, Chloe's affinity for Leo had finally broken 30. Her roommates, watching from the sidelines, couldn't help but be impressed by this guy. With just a few words, he had managed to cheer up his gloomy girlfriend. No wonder he was the one who managed to capture the heart of PSU's campus crush. Meanwhile, in Isabel Vance's living room, Isabel was playing bridge with a few old friends, while their children were playing in her bedroom. Ever since she and Leo had almost slept together, Isabel hadn't actively contacted him. She was even too embarrassed to invite him over for dinner. But she couldn't bear to let go of this sincere young man, especially since he was so good to her daughter, and Maddie adored him. Caught in this web of complex emotions, Isabel had resorted to inviting her best friends over for cards to distract herself from her recent turmoil. Isabel's friends were all dripping with wealth. They wore designer clothes, carried luxury handbags, and drove cars that were far beyond the reach of ordinary people. Their husbands ran oil companies, developed real estate, or were big in the tourism industry. Each was a multimillionaire. The four of them at this card table represented a significant chunk of Portland's GDP. Only in terms of looks and figure did these women fall short. Age and childbirth had taken their toll. Isabel was different. A natural beauty, she didn't need to spend a fortune correcting her flaws like these wealthy women did. Her figure and looks were still top tier. Walking down the street, you'd never guess she was a single mother with a child. One of the women, a heavy-set figure in heavy makeup, looked at Isabel with amusement. Isabel, honey, it's been so long since your husband passed. You still haven't thought about finding a man. Isabel played a card and smiled back. I'm fine on my own. I can take good care of Maddie. I don't think Trish was talking about taking care of Maddie. Another woman chimed in with a wink. She was talking about taking care of you, Isabel. Especially at night. Ha ha ha. The women burst out laughing. As women of a certain age, they loved making these kinds of risque jokes with each other. Keep it down. The kids will hear, Isabel scolded, her face flushing slightly as she glanced toward the bedroom. At the same time, she couldn't help but remember what had almost happened in that very bedroom with Leo, and her face grew even redder. The truth was, a woman of Isabel's age had significant needs. She had been trying her best to suppress them, focusing all her energy on her daughter. But since that day, it was as if a switch had been flipped, and she found it increasingly difficult to control herself. Every night before bed, she couldn't stop thinking about what had almost happened with Leo. Isabel was more traditional than her friends, who had the numbers of half a dozen personal trainers saving their phones for booty calls. Besides Leo, Isabel didn't want to find another man, so she had resorted to buying a few toys to comfort herself. Ooh, she's blushing. Looks like she has found someone. The first woman, Trish, said with a satisfied nod. I knew it. You couldn't possibly be sitting idle. Oh, stop it. I invited you here to play cards, not to talk about this, Isabel denied, flustered. It's not good for the kids to hear. Just then, the bedroom door flew open. Maddie ran out, holding a purple toy, and shouted, Mommy, they're trying to take your toy. Ha 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 ha. The wealthy women stared for a second, then erupted into peals of maniacal laughter. They were good friends, so it wasn't meant to be mocking. They were laughing at the fact that Isabel, with all her money and power, was still using such a basic little thing. A true waste of her wealth. Maddie, you. Isabel was mortified. Her heart pounding, she scrambled over, snatched the toy, and ran back into the bedroom to hide it, shooing all the other children out. When she returned to the card table, Isabel looked at her friends, who were struggling to contain their laughter, and said, her face beat red, What's so funny? Are we playing or not? Isabel, honey, I know you don't want another man interfering in your and Maddie's life, Trish said, trying to be helpful. But life is life. You can't rely on that thing forever. You're only in your 30s. She's right, Isabel. With your looks, you can have any man you want. Why play with little toys? Look at me. My old man is out every night living it up. I'm not about to stay home alone, am I? Isabel, you have to live in the moment. That's right, Isabel. We women have to learn to be good to ourselves, a third friend chimed in. We've earned all this money. We can't take it with us, so what's the difference where we spend it? It's not shameful to find a man to have some fun with. Oh, please, not in front of the children, Isabel said, glancing at Maddie, who was now playing on a phone with the other kids on the couch. Her friend's advice only made her feel more miserable. All right, that's enough for today. I have to take Maddie to her tutoring class. Seeing that Isabel didn't want to talk about it, her friends exchanged glances, sighed silently, and started packing their bags, gathering their children to leave. After her friends were gone, Isabel looked at the messy bridge table and the empty room, a wave of loneliness washing over her. Maddie sat on the couch, watching her mother stare into space, and blinked curiously. Mommy, I don't have tutoring this afternoon. Isabel got up and sat next to her daughter, pinching Maddie's cheek with a bittersweet smile. You little troublemaker. You're always embarrassing me. Mommy's not ugly. Maddie didn't understand what embarrassing meant. She hugged Isabel's arm and said proudly, "My teacher says you're much prettier than all the other kids' mommies." "You sweet talker." Her daughter's compliment lifted Isabel's spirits considerably. "Mommy, why hasn't Mr. Leo come to play with us lately?" Maddie asked, clutching the little rubber duck Leo had given her. "I miss Mr. Leo. What's he been doing? Is he in school too?" "Mommy doesn't know either," Isabel sighed wistfully. Since that day, it was as if all communication between them had been severed. But whenever she thought about what had happened in the bedroom, she could feel her heart race, and an indescribable sense of shame would spread through her. She took out her phone, opened her chat with Leo, and reread their old conversations, a small smile gracing her lips. The next day at noon, Leo was at home, his fingers flying across the keyboard, determined to finish his ongoing web novel. He had been writing this million-word progression fantasy for almost a year. Although it wasn't a huge success, it had enough chapters that he could still earn a decent monthly income from it, enough to make about $2,500 a month. Now that he had the system and nearly $100,000 in savings, Leo figured he wouldn't be relying on writing to make a living anymore. But he had written so many words, the plot was nearing its conclusion, and he had gained a few hundred loyal fans. He couldn't bring himself to just abandon it. He decided to give the main character a proper ending, even if it risked being a bit rushed. Leo typed incredibly fast, writing from morning until 4 or 5 in the afternoon. Finally, he finished the novel and posted a special chapter with his thanks to the readers. The comments, however, weren't all positive. "WTF? That's the end? Author, you're a monster." "Well, at least it's an ending. Congrats on finishing. Please, author, no more romance subplots in your next book." The cringe was real. Can't you just let the MC level up and fight monsters in peace? As Leo was reading through the comments, a new message popped up on his phone. "Coax me maybe. Congrats on finishing. Good luck on the next book. I'm rooting for you." This was one of Leo's most loyal fans. A large part of the reason he'd been able to write 1,000,000 words was thanks to this reader. When Leo had first started the book, his writing was rough, the plot was a mess, and he was getting flamed by countless readers. But this one person not only encouraged him in the comments, but also fought back against the trolls with an arsenal of epic, well-articulated clapbacks. They had told Leo to ignore the haters, and that if he kept writing, the book would surely take off. Although the book never really took off, Leo was incredibly grateful to this reader. They had even added each other on his private messaging app, and sometimes played games together. But the reader never used voice chat and only typed, so Leo still had no idea if they were a guy or a girl. He guessed they were probably a guy. What girl could be so fluent in gamer rage? "I probably won't be writing anymore," Leo replied. "Gotta find a new job to make a living." "Coax me maybe, huh? For real? What are you planning to do?" "Offline mode. Don't know yet. Just taking it one step at a time." They chatted for a bit before the other person said they had to go eat. Just as Leo was about to head out for food himself, his phone buzzed again. He thought it was Chloe looking to chat, but when he opened his messages, he saw it was his pain-in-the-ass sister, Riley. "Bloodsucker #1, yo loser. Took a look at that trash firebook of yours. Heard you finally finished it." "Offline mode. Yeah, and I'm probably done with writing. Looks like I'll have to come begging you and Sophie for money soon." The typing indicator on her end went on for a long time, and then a Venmo notification for $300 popped up. "Not using this for anything right now. Borrow it to tide you over. Let me know if you need more." Leo stared at the $300 transfer for a long time, then typed back in disbelief. "Who the hell are you? Give my sister her phone back. Bloodsucker #1. I'm your damn sister, you moron. You goof. I was kidding. I've got some savings. I don't need you two to bail me out just yet." Leo knew his sister. Riley always had this aggressive, confrontational attitude, but if he was ever in real trouble, she'd do whatever she could to help. He had practically raised her, after all, even if she always acted like an arrogant, spoiled brat. "So what are you going to do now? Really not writing anymore?" "Don't know yet. We'll see. Gotta go." Leo didn't bother explaining and closed the chat. That was how it was with siblings. He opened his banking app to check his balance. $95,000 sat there quietly. Leo had never had a 5-figure bank account before. The string of numbers was a stunning visual. The entire sum had come from the affinity points he'd earned from Isabel and Chloe. With this much money, should I get a car? Leo had gotten his driver's license a few years ago, but since he barely left the house and never had any spare cash, the license had been sitting in a drawer, practically turning yellow. If he wasn't going to be riding anymore and might need to pick Chloe up from campus often, getting a car seemed like a good idea. Leo had never bought a car or a house before. He wasn't familiar with the process and would need an expert to guide him. Wait a minute. The rich lady. It dawned on him. He had a landlord with a net worth in the millions right in his contact list. She would definitely know the ins and outs of buying a car. He sent a text. Isabel, are you free tomorrow? It's Friday. I'm thinking of buying a car, but I'm not really familiar with the process. If you're not busy, would you be able to go with me? A few seconds after he sent it, Isabel replied. Isabel V. I'm free. When? Morning or afternoon? Most people, when a friend says they're buying a car, would first ask about their budget or what kind of car they want. But Isabel just asked if he wanted to go in the morning or the afternoon. The thought process of the wealthy was truly on another level. Offline mode. Afternoon would be better. The weather should be nice. Isabel V. Okay, I'll come find you tomorrow afternoon. Offline mode. Okay, thanks so much for your help. Isabel V. It's no problem. Also, Leo, I wanted to ask you something. Offline mode. Sure. What's up? The typing indicator at the top of Isabel's chat box appeared and disappeared for several minutes before she finally sent her question. What do you think of me? What's your real impression of me? 1. Are you trying to tell me a joke this late at night? What do I think? I think with my eyes, of course. 2. I think you're a great person. You're beautiful and youthful, like a cool older sister from next door, and you have a very gentle personality. 3. I know what you're thinking, but don't get any ideas. I'm trying to pursue another girl right now. Unless you're offering to let me hit it for free. Option 3 is way too harsh, but Leo thought for a moment, sighed softly, and typed out his reply. I think you're a great person. You're beautiful and youthful, like a cool older sister from next door, and you have a very gentle personality. Isabel V. Thank you, but that's not what I was asking. Offline mode. Then what were you asking? Just like before, the typing indicator flickered for 7 or 8 minutes before Isabel finally replied. Never mind. It's nothing. Get some sleep. Good night. Offline mode. Okay, good night, Isabel. Leo knew exactly what Isabel was trying to ask. But if he really had to choose between Chloe and Isabel, he would definitely choose the girl who was his own age and a better fit for him. Bad timing, I guess. Leo muttered with a quiet sigh. If he had met Isabel years ago, he would have undoubtedly chosen the wealthy and beautiful divorcee. The next day at noon, Leo ordered some takeout and hopped in the shower. He had just finished and was blow-drying his hair when there was a knock at the door. Assuming it was the delivery driver, he hastily pulled on a pair of pants and went to open the door, his upper body still bare and glistening with water droplets. The moment he opened the door, Leo realized it wasn't a delivery driver standing there, but his landlord, Isabel Vance. Isabel, it's you. Leo shifted awkwardly to the side, pushing the door open wider. I thought it was my food delivery. Come on in. Why aren't you wearing a shirt? Isabel asked, her tone feigning nonchalance as she followed him inside. But her eyes were glued to Leo's broad back, and her once calm heart began to race. That strong physique, those powerful arms, for a woman who had been alone for years, it was a lethal attraction. I just got out of the shower. I thought it was the delivery guy, Leo said, scratching his head in embarrassment as he grabbed his shirt and pulled it on. I didn't expect you to be here already. Why are you showering in the middle of the day? Isabel said distractedly, her eyes still fixed on Leo's masculine form, and she unconsciously swallowed. It wasn't until the t-shirt covered the last sliver of tan skin on his stomach that a flicker of disappointment crossed her eyes. Isabel cleared her throat and asked, So, Leo, you said you wanted to buy a car. What's your budget? Around $40,000. Leo walked over to her with his phone, pulling up a car-buying app and pointing to a Mercedes-Benz C300. What do you think of this one? Leo had made up his mind a long time ago. If he ever made money, he'd buy a nice car. If he stayed broke, he wouldn't buy one at all. Or maybe just a used beater. Now, with nearly $100,000 in the bank, he naturally wanted something nice. A dream car for many guys, the Mercedes C-Class went for around $45,000 new, but looked like a $100,000 car, and its interior was top of the line for its class. After just half an hour of browsing last night, Leo had decided to get one. This one? It seems. Wait, let me see. Isabel mumbled thoughtfully as she opened her purse and rummaged inside for a moment before pulling out a massive, colorful keychain. Mercedes, BMW, Ferrari, Neo EP9, Lotus Elise, Audi. Basically, every luxury car brand you could name was represented on that keychain. Leo watched from the side, his mouth twitching. He had only ever seen such an absurd display in over-the-top novels. He never imagined reality could be even more shocking. I actually have one. Isabel found what she was looking for on the massive ring and pinched a silver-gray key between her fingers. She said earnestly, Don't be in a hurry to buy. Cars don't appreciate in value. Do you want practice with mine first? 1. That's not necessary, Isabel. I have my own money to buy one. Thank you for the offer, though. 2. Wrap your arm around her waist, take the key, and say in a dominant yet gentle voice, "Are you trying to be my sugar mama, Isabel? I'm very expensive, you know." 3. I can't do that, Isabel. I can't accept something for nothing. How can I just drive your car? Besides, I prefer new cars, not used ones. That's not necessary, Isabel. I have my own money to buy one. Thank you for the offer, though. Leo waved his hand with a smile, rejecting the offer. He had almost blurted out option 3. On the surface, it seemed fine. Leo genuinely didn't like used things, whether it was cars or anything else. But Isabel's situation was unique, divorced with a child. Replying that way would be like saying he wasn't interested in women who had been married before. It seemed the system's options weren't always straightforward. A moment of carelessness could lead to dropping a bomb. That's not what I mean, Leo. I just want to help ease your financial burden a little, Isabel said sincerely. I don't know what your parents do, but I'm sure saving up that much money was a huge effort for you. And then you'll have car payments every month. How can you manage that on just a few thousand a month? Oh no, I'm not getting a loan. I'm paying in full, Leo explained with a smile. I don't really spend much money, so I've saved up quite a bit since graduating. Buying this car isn't a huge strain. All right then, Isabel sighed, a little disappointed, but still unhooked the silver gray key and handed it to Leo. Isabel, really, you don't have to what? Isabel interrupted him with a mock glare. My car happens to be parked right here in the apartment garage. Isn't this the model you want? We could just drive this one to the dealership. It'll give you a chance to get a feel for it. Well, thank you, Isabel. Leo couldn't refuse any longer and took the silver gray car key in his hand. They went down to the garage, and Leo immediately spotted the Mercedes. The only difference was that this one was a fiery magma red. He had his eye on the space silver. Once inside, Leo looked around at the car's exquisite interior with delight. The inside of this car is amazing, Isabel. It's so cool. It's just a way to get around, Isabel said with a gentle, chiding glance at Leo. You boys work so hard to save up for a car. Is it really just because it looks good? Hee, pretty much, Leo said with an honest laugh. After starting the engine, Leo gripped the steering wheel, his movements a bit clumsy. Hearing the engine's roar, he felt a surge of nerves. Like most young people, after getting his license, Leo had barely touched a car, let alone driven one on the road. It took him several tries to awkwardly back the car out of the spot, nearly scraping a white Volkswagen parked next to them. It's okay, just relax, Isabel said, gently placing her hand on his. Her voice was patient and soothing. If you can't, I can drive. Don't put too much pressure on yourself. Okay, this was why, in this materialistic world, so many men were drawn to older women. They were just so understanding, always showing their gentle, forgiving nature at the moments when a man felt most helpless and inadequate. With Isabel's encouragement, Leo gradually got the hang of the steering wheel and smoothly drove out of the underground garage. So, Isabel, is your life these days just collecting rent and things like that? You must take Maddie on trips sometimes, right? The atmosphere in the car was quiet as they drove onto the main road. So Leo started conversation. I think her daycare is about to have a break soon. You'll probably take her traveling, right? We used to, when Maddie had long breaks, but less and less in recent years. Isabel murmured, her voice tinged with regret, her tender gaze never leaving Leo. Some places aren't as safe these days, and it's just the two of us girls without a man around. If we run into any trouble on a long trip, what could one woman do against them? I see. Leo rubbed his nose, thinking he should change the subject. And the property manager for one of my buildings just quit, so I have to spend time finding a replacement. Huh, our building manager quit. Leo tried to recall. I don't think so. I saw him just the other day when I was getting breakfast. Not this one, the Evergreen Terrace. Isabel tucked a strand of hair behind her ear, then bent slightly to smooth her skirt, her expression serene. I also have the waterfront spire downtown. That one's mine too. Leo was speechless. The drive to the dealership was only supposed to take about 15 minutes. With Leo's rusty driving skills, it took them half an hour. A man in a sharp suit stood at the entrance, a warm, professional smile on his face, directing Leo into their exclusive customer parking area. After the Mercedes was parked, the man gently knocked on the passenger side window, eagerly opened the door for Isabel, and expertly placed a hand over the top of the doorframe to shield her head. Isabel, long time no see. After they got out, the man glanced at Leo, who was driving. Unfamiliar face. Could be ignored. It was that simple. His enthusiastic gaze quickly snapped back to Isabel. Isabel, you mentioned you wanted to look at a car. Do you have a particular model in mind? My friend is looking, Isabel said, gesturing to Leo. You can just show him around. Oh, of course, of course. The man's expression shifted in a flash. He strode over to Leo and enthusiastically offered him a cigarette. Hey man, smoke? Not sure which model you're interested in, but I'd be happy to give you the grand tour. In a wealthy city like Portland, they had seen the rich woman brings her boy toy to buy a car scenario countless times. They naturally wouldn't ask standard questions like budget, because the one paying was almost always the woman. And whenever a rich woman brought her boy toy, the chances of closing a sale were extremely high. As long as they kept the boy toy happy, the commission was practically in the bag. Thanks, I don't smoke. Leo waved his hand, declining. He did smoke, but he was uncomfortable with the man's fawning attitude. Good man, good man. Nasty habit anyway, the man said without a trace of awkwardness, still radiating enthusiasm as he led them inside. He's the general manager of this dealership, Isabel whispered to Leo, glancing at the man leading the way. Later, you just need to tell him which car you want. Don't worry about the contracts or anything. After looking around for about 15 minutes, Leo didn't hesitate. He stuck with the model he'd picked out the night before. Since Leo was paying in full, he didn't need to go through the lengthy process of providing his ID and driver's license for a loan application. He just had to sign a few specific contracts. After a test drive with a saleswoman in a tight black skirt, he was guided by the general manager to sign the final papers. Normally, after buying a car, a customer might have to wait a few days or even a week to get all the paperwork in order before they could pick up the car and choose a license plate. But with Isabel's help, and since the dealership happened to have the exact car Leo wanted in stock, he was able to take ownership of a brand new $46,000 Mercedes-Benz C300 in space silver after signing a series of documents. After taking a picture with his new car, the three of them went back inside to sit down. The general manager enthusiastically went over the car's features and some important things to keep in mind. This was Leo's first car, so he listened intently, an excited smile plastered on his face, already anticipating the thrill of driving it home. Isabel sat right next to Leo, watching the happy young man with a gentle expression, her hand quietly finding his. Leo didn't pull away. He squeezed her warm hand and turned to give her a small smile. This made Isabel even happier. She wrapped her arm around his, her eyes filled with a sense of dependence. Behind them, a group of slender saleswomen in black stockings and sharply dressed salesmen were gathered, whispering amongst themselves. Judging by the envious and wistful looks on the women's faces, they were probably thinking how nice it must be to be rich enough to casually date such a handsome guy. The salesmen, however, were just plain jealous. It wasn't that they'd never seen rich women with their boy toys before, but this particular rich woman was stunningly beautiful. Her figure and looks were top tier, and even her voice was impossibly gentle. She was a world away from the usual overweight, gaudy women who dripped with jewelry and were prone to slapping their boy toys in public. The thought that this kid would not only get a Mercedes bought for him, but would also probably get to go home and pin this gorgeous, high-class woman under him for a wild night made the salesmen burn with envy, their fists clenched tight. All right, if I have any questions, I'll just message you, Leo said after they had finished talking. He pulled out his bank card and handed it to the general manager. You can run this, and I'll need a receipt. It's my first car. I want to commemorate it. Well, the general manager looked at the card Leo was holding out, hesitated for a moment, and then shot Isabel a helpless smile. You can go take care of other things. We'll call you if we need you, Isabel said, dismissing the manager. She squeezed Leo's hand. Let's go pick a license plate first. We could talk about some things on the way home. It dawned on Leo. Isabel had already paid the $46,000 for the car, and he finally understood why all the salespeople were giving him such strange looks. They really thought he was a kept man. This wasn't something Leo felt comfortable making a scene about. It would only make him look more like he was living off her and just putting on a show of paying for it himself. He could only follow behind Isabel, his feelings a complicated mix, and ask, Isabel, I checked online. Don't you have to wait until you pick up the car to choose a plate? That's how it is for regular customers. Isabel stopped and turned around, a mischievous smile on her exquisite face, her beautiful eyes sparkling with playful pride. But you're not a regular customer. For things like this, all it takes is a phone call. Isabel, where's your boy? Ahem, your friend? The general manager's heart nearly stopped. The words boy toy had almost slipped out. Everything is taken care of. He could drive the car off the lot now, and we can go choose a plate. I'm looking for him, Isabel said, sitting on the sofa, anxiously looking around. She bit her lip nervously. He said he was going to the restroom a while ago and hasn't come back. He wasn't with you. The general manager forced a smile. No, Isabel, I was just busy processing the paperwork for your friend. Could he have gone home? Isabel muttered, disappointed. She suspected that by paying for the car herself, she might have hurt Leo's pride, causing him to leave. A saleswoman came over and whispered in the general manager's ear. I saw him run outside a minute ago. I think he went to the bank across the street. The bank. The manager thought for a moment, then immediately turned to Isabel with a reassuring smile. Isabel, my subordinate, said your friend just stepped out. He'll be right back. Isabel's eyes lit up. Really? Of course. The manager nodded quickly, grumbling internally. To have this woman so wrapped around his finger. Is this kid packing 8 inches or what? He's back. The saleswoman who had gone on the test drive with Leo pointed toward the entrance. Manager, the handsome guy's back. Leo, where did you go? Isabel was overjoyed, rushing to meet him. We've been waiting for you to pick a plate. Sorry, had to take care of something, Leo said with a sheepish grin, scratching his head. He turned to the general manager. All right, let's pick the plate. Then we can get the car. Looks like this rich woman hasn't completely tamed this kid yet, the manager thought, immediately picking up on the dynamic. He figured the kid must have gone to the bank to get the money for the car, planning to pay Isabel back. A truly kept man would be meek and submissive, always fawning over his benefactor. They wouldn't dare wander off without permission. To put it bluntly, they'd be like a dog following its owner around. Not like this guy, who just left without a word, making his rich benefactor worry. It was clear who was chasing whom in this relationship, and the manager's guess was spot on. Leo had indeed gone to the bank to get a cashier's check for the price of the Mercedes. After they had chosen a license plate and gotten into the new car, Leo handed the fresh check to Isabel. Isabel, this is the money for the car. I can't just accept something so expensive from you. Isabel was sitting in the passenger seat of the new car, happily fastening her seatbelt, looking forward to having Leo take her for a drive. But the check he handed her instantly drained the light from her eyes. She didn't take it. Instead, she asked, her voice full of disappointment. Leo, do you also think I'm getting old? That I'm ugly and wrinkled? 1. Don't you have any self-awareness? You're 36 and have a kid. Of course you're old. 2. So what if you're older? In this day and age, who cares about that stuff? As long as you have money, that's all that matters. 3. No way, Isabel. In my eyes, you've always been young and beautiful. Don't you have any self-awareness? You're 36 and have a kid. Of course you're old. So what if you're older? In this day and age, who cares about that stuff? As long as you have money, that's all that matters. No way, Isabel. In my eyes, you've always been young and beautiful. Why would you even ask that, Isabel? In my eyes, you've always been young and beautiful, Leo said with a teasing smile. And hey, why did you say also? You don't mean some blind person actually had the nerve to call you ugly, do you? He then added with a theatrical flourish. Was it one of those salespeople back there gossiping behind her back? Tell me who it was, Isabel, and I'll go give them a piece of my mind. If he'd said this to any other rich woman, Leo's over-the-top performance might have seemed like sucking up. But Isabel truly deserved the praise. Her figure and looks were in a different league from the typical heavy-set socialites. Today, Isabel was wearing a short brown jacket over a form-fitting, round-neck shirt. The jacket was slightly open, and from Leo's angle, he could see the full, round curve of her chest pressing against the fabric. She wore a matching brown mid-length skirt, revealing long legs clad in black tights. The outfit wasn't as overtly sexy as the dress she'd worn before, nor as glamorous as her casual clothes from their first meeting, but it had an indescribable, comforting, domestic charm. Ding! Isabel Vance's affinity has increased by 5 points. Current affinity, 65. Please continue your efforts. You're such a drama queen. Leo's dramatic acting and flirtatious words made Isabel burst out laughing, and her mood instantly improved. But from her pouty expression, it was clear she was still not happy about him trying to pay her back. Then what is this about? Isabel huffed, glancing at the check for over $40,000 in his hand. Isabel, how long have we known each other? How could I possibly accept something so expensive from you? Leo explained with a smile. I know you're very wealthy, but I don't think you'd want me to be the kind of guy who can be bought, would you? That's exactly what I want. Isabel pouted, muttering under her breath. The minds of wealthy women were complex. They despised men who fawned over them. Yet when they found a man they genuinely liked, they wished he would be exactly that type. That was Isabel right now. She desperately wished Leo was the kind of man whose eyes lit up at the sight of money. That way, she wouldn't have to rack her brain trying to get his attention. She could just throw money at him. I guess everything you see online is fake. How could any young guy like an old hack? Even with money, Isabel mumbled again. After all, Some people would rather struggle for decades than accept a little help. Ha ha, Isabel, give me a break, Leo said, laughing helplessly. He could hardly believe he was seeing this cute, pouting side of such a sophisticated and elegant woman. Leo, I'll be straight with you. I'm a divorced woman, and I'm 12 years older than you. I also know that you should be with a girl your own age. That's how you'll be happy in the future. After saying this, Isabel's expression turned serious. She turned to him, gripping his hand tightly, and confessed with deep emotion, "But I really, really like you, Leo. And Maddie likes you too. I'm not asking for much, and I won't get in the way of you finding a girlfriend. I just hope you'll come spend time with me and Maddie when you're free. That would be enough to make me happy. And whatever you want in the future, I'll buy it for you. Cars, houses, anything." Growing more emotional, she frantically rummaged through her Chanel bag, pulled out a black credit card from her wallet, and impatiently pressed it into Leo's hand. "Leo, this is an Amex Centurion card. There's no limit. Just take it. Take it. If you don't take it, I'll be angry. I don't have much, Isabel, just money and property. If you agree, I'll give you anything you want." "You know, Isabel." Leo took the black card that had been forced into his hand, examining it for a moment, then changed the subject. "This whole situation, this feels like something straight out of a crazy novel." Isabel's voice had become almost pleading. "Leo, I'm not joking." "I'm not joking either," Leo said with a resigned smile. Under Isabel's disbelieving gaze, he leaned over and clicked her seatbelt into place. "Let's just go home first." Moi. Leo felt a warm, slightly moist sensation on his cheek. Isabel's face was flushed. She pursed her red lips and smiled, relieved. "Thank you, Leo." Leo played dumb. "Thank me for what?" "For buckling your seatbelt." "I don't care." Isabel acted like a young girl, hugging Leo's arm and cooing. "I'm just going to assume you agreed. And if you didn't, I'll just annoy you every day. The whole apartment complex is mine, after all. There's nowhere for you to hide. You're not going to use a steel brush on me, are you?" Leo pretended to shiver in fear. "Isabel, I'm scared of pain. You be gentle, right?" "Ugh, you little devil. What kind of person do you think I am?" Isabel knew exactly what he was referring to. Her rich friends made those kinds of jokes all the time. "Leo, you're so good to me, thank you." Isabel leaned against his arm, looking up at him with eyes full of adoration. "Ahem, Isabel, people are watching," Leo reminded her awkwardly. Isabel suddenly remembered that the car windows weren't tinted one way. Their intimate moment was in full view of the security guard at the garage exit, and judging by the way the guard kept stealing glances, it looked like he was grinding his back teeth to dust. For men of his age, a woman like Isabel was the equivalent of a high school crush, beautiful and unattainable. And yet, here was this stunning, sophisticated woman, acting like a little girl, cuddling up to a young guy in his 20s. The security guard could only lament the cruel state of the world, wondering why all the rich women fell for these frivolous young punks. Why were decent, reliable older men like him always left behind? Just then, a text message from the dealership popped up on Leo's phone. It was the standard welcome message from Mercedes. "Dear Mr. Shepard, congratulations on becoming a valued owner of a Mercedes-Benz. May the three-pointed star illuminate your path to success. 1 point for opportunity, 1 for prosperity, 1 for harmony. The stars do not ask the traveler's destination, and time does not fail the diligent." "Let's hope so," Leo muttered. He glanced at the adoring landlord beside him, looked out at the wide-open road ahead, and eagerly pressed the accelerator. The new silver Mercedes shot forward, speeding out of the parking garage.